Time's up, Admiral.
Here it comes.
By the power of Grayskull!
I am dumping unlimited power into you. That's what
All Shooty wanted to do was be inside me. It was one of the first James Bond movies I watched, so I have a bit of a connection to it. And
That's Dermot's excuse.
I don't fuck.
It was their first date, Adam. Shut up.
I will stop bringing it up. I don't give a fuck what that wannabe VTuber cunt wants to say. Okay, let me have my moment.
Dude, that's like a test of strength. That's not gay. That's like I'm gonna grip you. I'm gonna grip you harder than you grip me. I wonder what the championship belt would look like. Just like a big ass.
It'd be my penis wrapped around their waist.
we named zombies after you in that game.
Yeah,
Rightfully so.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're these big fat bloaters that sun themselves and they just lay there.
oh, those are the things that come out of my rainbow's ass.
Adam, you being Worf is cultural appropriation. I won't.
Cultural appropriate my dick. I don't care. I will have earned my ridges and my surly attitude by the time we get there.
If I were going to culturally appropriate your dick, you'd have to go get that surgery. To get
Oh, good lord! Here we go.
Yeah.
That is just.
Oh god,
those eyes, dude. Those eyes, man. Those eyes.
Pretty eyes.
I'm not looking at them eyes right now. You know what?
I know, but she is a total package. She is a total package.
I usually think Ryan. I usually think Ryan is very cringe when he says this, but she can shit in my mouth.
Whoa, Dermy!
Why do you have to ruin
What
this?
the fuck?
Why
Ryan
do you have to
says
ruin
that
this?
shit.
Fuck,
Ryan
I know,
says
but-
this shit.
If Ryan jumped off a bridge, would you jump off a bridge?
But you just
For her, yeah.
would. Here we are worshiping this beautiful woman, and you're talking about German shit eating. I mean, come on.
Listen. I will drag my ball sack.
No, listen.
100
You
miles
listen to
worth
me.
of
Shut the fuck up.
broken glass, salt, and lemon
Shut the
juice
fuck up,
just
Jeremy.
to smell her farts.
We're not on your goddamn stream. We're on Adam's stream. We're
Wow,
supposed
I
to
am-
respect the man's
Thanks-
house. You don't take
thank-
shit in his goddamn fridge.
They warned us about people like you!
never gets old. It just doesn't get old. Have you seen? I put together a new one for Roundtable yesterday because I've been lazy for a lot of reasons. Some of them out of my control. And
No, I missed it.
Okay, well, I'll show you at least what I. All right, let me load up the one. There are a lot of new additions, but the best one is the final one. I'll put it up here, and I'll show it to you. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I put it in. Oh, yes, alphabetical order, dumbass. There's one thing. It's so. Not this weekend, last weekend when we were talking about Concord, that crap game that is losing Sony a lot of money right now. We were going through the characters, and one of the characters had he was a pimp. I said, "That's a pimp." And Dre goes, "I have those glasses." He says, "I'll be right back." So he gets up and leaves, and he comes back, and he did this.
Hey, my name is a pimp named Dries, and I believe I've misplaced some merchandise at this residence. Lord Jesus and the shepherds, where is Daddy's money? I will not hesitate for one solitary second to put hands on somebody if I don't have my monies.
Oh, I was like, yes, thank you. So yeah, so I finally got that in, and that the intro for Roundtable is almost 5 minutes long now. Because
Oh,
all the
geez.
clips I keep putting in there. Well, I just keep adding to it because right now, whenever we do something stupid, somebody basically gets the timestamp and sends it to me so that I know when to go back and get it a couple days later. But now I have noticed something. It's been going on for a couple days now, and happened yesterday, happening again today. There's a lag, a real lag between when I hit the start button and when StreamYard is connected to YouTube. It used to take 20 seconds.
Mhm.
Excuse me, which is
Yeah.
part of the reason I do
It's
a
happening
30-second
across the
countdown.
board.
Yeah, and it's a good 40 seconds now, almost.
Yep.
So I don't even when the stream actually starts, we're at the con clip. Here it comes instead of the countdown. So I have to adjust myself until they fix it. There's a whole lot of problems because OBS has been fucked up this weekend.
Yeah, so StreamYard did an update last week where, and I'm sure you saw the notification about this, where things that are shared screens are now in 1080p. And I think when they did that, they fucked some other things up. They really got to learn to beta test this shit before they unroll it.
And that's kind of stupid because my subscription with StreamYard is only for 720p. So why the fuck should I have to suffer because they fucked up 1080p if that's the case?
Right. Well, I don't think it's just that, but I think that has certainly not helped the case. I've been having issues with StreamYards off and on, and not just the shitternet stuff, but like the actual website and software. I've been having problems with off and on for the better part of a year.
Really?
And it's just and it just seems to be getting worse. It's like they want to add stuff in, but they don't want to address existing problems, and which is typical of a lot of live service shit out there.
You know what they did fucking add? Dark mode.
Actually, they did. Mode. They did add dark mode.
I don't have it.
I just
pay for it.
I think it just unrolled this weekend.
All right. Hang on. Let's look here. I'm looking. All right. I'm opening up settings. Let's see. General. Orientation settings for disabled live. Okay, no. Landscape portrait. I know they unrolled that. I saw that shit. Camera, no. Audio, no. Virtual background, no. Recording hotkeys. Layouts, okay, layouts. No, I don't see dark mode option here. And then there's guests, which unless it's on the StreamYard's main page.
I think it is. There's a lot of stuff you can't access it without going to that main page. So
let me open up my main account page because I can do that without killing the stream. Let's see. Team settings. No. System stat. No. System status. No, that's not it. Account. No. I don't see account settings. Let's see. No, I don't see a dark mode.
I'm telling you, it happened. I don't know where they stuck it, but they did have. I got a notification for it Saturday night while I was doing something else on StreamYard, and it just pops up, and it's like, "Hey, do you want to switch to dark mode?" And I was like, "Not at the moment."
Yeah, I would love that. I would love that. This fucking screen blinds me. Yes, it provides some light, but it fucking blinds me. I hate it. I'll look into that later. I'm gonna have to learn later because I won't be streaming again until the end of the week. So, or at least not on. Well, no. What the fuck am I talking about? I'm streaming again tomorrow night. I'm on Get Ranked tomorrow night because Devil's bringing it back on Tuesdays right now. So I'll have to look into that. God damn it! I didn't get an email or notification.
I didn't get an email. It was literally a pop-up while I was in StreamYard getting ready for Amira's stream Saturday night. In between my stream and her stream.
You know, motherfuckers better not have put it on a higher tier than I have. Oh, you want dark mode? You got to pay for it. Fuck you. That's true.
Maybe that's it. Maybe it's just on a higher tier. I don't know.
Yeah,
I pay kind of too much for this app, but
I pay the baseline subscription that gives me 50 gigs of space, allows me to have the full panel of 12 if I need it, and unlimited hours for streaming. I don't because if you on the unpaid one, but I did the unpaid one for like a year where you could only stream for a total of 24 hours in the week, and you could only have 6 people on the screen at a time. And that
Yeah.
was fine until I started broadening my streaming. And then suddenly, 24 ain't gonna cut it. Not when you do a lot of multi-hour streams in the week, or maybe drop of the hats, like drop of the sun, all the sudden stream. So yes, I needed to get beyond that. So, and because the reset was every it's not week, month. It was 24 hours a month. Not a week, because I wouldn't fill in a week. It just wasn't happening. So that's when I
No, and I mean you're not gonna regularly stream 24 hours in a week. I mean, very few people do, except for
not on StreamYards,
streamers and whatnot.
Not on StreamYards. I do it on OBS.
So,
I mean,
sure, but like generally speaking, you're not going to do that. But in a month, man, that's like 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, we do an average on this show. We do an average of 2 to 3 hours on this show. It all depends on the topics and if we watch anything, or how many of us are here talking. And
and if there's 4 of those in a month, that's half of your data right there.
Now, I used to do Natural 20 every week, but I've since taken that off the table, and I do every couple of weeks. I call it the autopsy show right now. Not doing one this week. I'm too busy this week with real life shit. And then Roundtable is always 2 hours, maybe 2.5. But yeah, when you add it all together, it goes away quickly, and you never know. And now with Mordor Country, I mean, yes, we streamlined it on Saturday. We got it down to 3 hours instead of 4 or 5. So we streamlined it, but that was still 3 hours. We weren't as bad. And then when driving's only usually an hour and a half. Hey, Deb.
Sorry, I was late.
No, it's no problem. It's no problem. We're
I was
discussing.
Early.
He was early. All right, wait. Let me ask you this. Have you seen the option for dark mode in StreamYards? Right here, right now. Samuel says he got a notification that there was one. I couldn't find it just now.
Yeah, Saturday night.
Yeah. I never use dark mode, but that's because everyone keeps telling me to use dark mode, so I refuse to.
That's you're a psychopath.
Yeah.
I don't use it either, man. I'm just saying the option's there. I saw it.
I like dark mode. I don't like blazing whiteness in me. I mean, I'm a racist and a bigot, so you'd think I'd like it, but I don't. It's just white in my face constantly.
Like I said, if everyone stopped bugging me for like 2 months about it, I'd probably do it. But as long as everyone's bugging me, I'm like, I ain't doing it.
I've never bugged you, and Dermy doesn't count.
It's green.
Dermy's a pissant. So.
Yeah, Dermy.
Oh God, did you watch Studio Chatterdate all last night? He had such a melt. So apparently, first he played the Bronies game, My Little Pony game, and he lost his mind a bit. And then he was playing Elden Ring. He had such a meltdown because he couldn't beat this particular boss, Captain Niall, up in this castle,
Captain Niall,
Niall, yeah. So he'd been trying to beat it for like. Bro, finally he beat the Frost Giant Fire Giant with some strategy about hitting the toes or some shit like that. I don't know.
You can't reach anything else. He's a giant.
So he finally beat the Fire Giant, but then he couldn't get past Captain Neil, and he was losing his shit. And then he looked at some strategy where you bewitch his spirits. And he was just losing his mind. He almost threw his controller. He was crying. He left Discord for a little while. Didn't want to talk to us. He timed it. Cloud was being so annoying to him. He timed Cloud out on Discord, not just on YouTube, but he timed Cloud out on Discord. Now I was being nice. I was tired. I've already been playing Dragon Age for like 6 hours at that point. So I was like, yeah, I'm just chilling. But I went and looked up. It took me 30 minutes to find my stream where I fought Captain Neal, and it took Dermy days to do this. It took me 5 tries, and I ended up brute forcing it with my character. My final strategy was, once I figured out what he was doing, charge in, and while he's still summoning his spirits, beat the ever-loving shit out of him to 50%. I had to do some dodging, and it was ugly. My battle was ugly beyond sin. It was not pretty. I dodge and dodge and dodge. I get him 50% where he absorbs his spirits back, and then I summoned Mimic, and we tag teamed him, and we got it done on the 5th try. But
I don't know why you guys are having so much trouble with that guy. Like, I get that he hits hard and he's fucking, his moveset.
I just can't dodge. No, I just can't dodge for shit. I can't dodge for shit in that
Okay.
game. I looked at it.
Yeah, but like in Dermot's kit, like there are solutions that you don't have to go like what he's talking about turning the spirits against him. Right. You get these little bewitching twigs that you have to get real fucking close to him and stab him with in order for that to happen. And that is an extremely risky fucking maneuver. Like I cannot believe somebody told him that was a better strategy.
He looked it up. Nobody told him. He looked it up in desperation because he was about to quit the game. He couldn't handle it. And then he looked it up.
It's still a retarded strategy.
Well, hey, he almost couldn't do it because Gideon, who would help him get it, he'd already passed the point in the game where he'd left the round table. He was already gone. So he had to like travel far and wide to find 2 of them, and he only had 2.
Yeah,
so he made it work.
I mean, it wouldn't be so bad if you didn't have to kill Nile. You have to like he drops, I think, one of the halves of the second medallion you need, and in order to progress the story, you have to kill him.
Yeah, because he was trying to get to Melania, and he couldn't do it without beating that. So
there is an
trying to get to the first lady.
Level up, level the fuck up.
Hey, you don't have to tell me that. Hey, listen, I got through it in 5 tries. It took me half an hour, but I got through it.
Look, if he's already in the fucking snowfield area, right, which he has to be in order to be fighting those 2 bosses that you mentioned, right? There is a portal on the south, slightly westish side of it that's like right along this cliff. And it's a little hidden, but if you can find that, it takes you directly to where you got to go to get the Moog's Palace, and there's a run right between you and the really horrible fucking like makes Caleb look like a little bitch scenario level between you and that castle where there's just a bunch of these dudes sitting there, right? And if you get something like like the sword that you get from beating the final boss of the game, right? It does this whole golden arc thing that just like mows down everything in front of it. Get that, get the golden scarab equipped, use your golden foul feet, right, to jack up your shit. It just like there's a save point right there. All you got to do is you should go kill everybody in that area, run back to the save point, respawn them, kill them again until you're and then reset your shit as needed. You'll build up fucking runes in no time.
His favorite farming spot, I saw him do it. He likes that one where there's that bird on the ledge and you shoot with a crossbow and it just runs off the ledge. That's his favorite.
Yeah, that's the same. That's the same one, but that particular part of it, it doesn't drop enough for that to be a consistent strategy. Like you really want to be taking out the other guys.
That's the one he likes when he goes to farm. That's what he does. So, but yeah, so he got through it and he was so happy. And then he wandered around a little more. But I was surprised. Well, I also like a week ago when he was fighting one of the 2 giant spectral skull scorpion spider dudes, and he couldn't beat that. And then I went and saw when I beat it. It took me 2 tries, and I was like, "Yeah, I beat that 2 tries."
Yeah, was he fighting the boss version of it, or the one that just happens to be in the area?
No, he was fighting the one on the way to what's her name? The witch chick. What the fuck is her name?
Ronnie. Okay, so yeah, that's
part of the Ronnie cross.
Yeah, so that is Astel the Natural Born, and he's an interesting fight. But yeah, he's not again not that difficult. His moveset is
just retarded,
predictable.
Yeah, it's not hard to beat. Asshole the Natural Born. He's crazy boss.
He's
a cool looking boss. It just wasn't that hard.
Oh man, the first time I found him, like, what the fuck is this thing? And then
it's one of my people, Adam. One of mine.
I saw that video you posted of those octopi that are.
Oh yeah, the AI, the creepy.
I was doom scrolling last
Family
night.
reunion.
And up, and I was like, "This thing is cool. I don't care if it's AI or not."
Samuel's family reunion.
Like those things had eyes, they had teeth. I'm like, what's going on
in places
here?
They shouldn't have.
Oh man.
Some Chinese person was watching that, or Japanese more likely going, "Oh, that all looks so good."
I will never eat octopus. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't eat practically anything from the sea. I'm an anti-fish person.
I'll eat good white fish, and shrimp if it's been cleaned. I mean, I ain't shrimp a turd in it. That ain't happening either. But I like
Man,
good
I'll eat
white
anything
fish.
that lives.
the saying, the Chinese saying, if its back faces heaven, it's edible. They'll eat anything over there, man. Anyway, we haven't actually said it. Welcome to Mellow Mondays, everybody. We jumped right into rambling shit without saying hi. Hail everybody in the chat. We're glad to have you guys here this evening. I don't know how long we're gonna go tonight. I don't have too much to talk about. It's gonna be a little stream of conscious like this right now. I have sort of one topic which will lead into the second topic. It's an article Dermy actually just posted, and it might be fun to read it and mock it. Because Paul Tassi at Forbes is a retard, plain and simple. But we got the other thing. I do want to bring I do have one real topic though, in the sense of games. We're talking gaming. It's kind of fitting. Yesterday and today, I talked about it. We're talking about it. The disaster of Star Wars Outlaws. I mean, that game is just bad, and it's not doing well either. And yesterday, I looked it up just to see if there was anything yet, and there isn't. But we did. There's no it being how many copies it's sold. Now I'm on the record for weeks leading up to this, months even, saying this game wasn't even going to sell 5 million copies. Well, just yesterday, I think this is yesterday, it was leaked that Ubisoft has downgraded its forecast about how many copies Outlaws will sell. Before we scroll down, how many copies do you think they originally said they were going to sell? Just guess. Go ahead.
I bet they said they were going to sell 5 million.
1.2 mil?
No, they originally predicted they were going to sell 8 million.
Oh,
Jesus. Talk
And
about
as you can see
highballing it.
You can see right there, estimated downing it by 3 million. So now they're only predicted to sell 5 million copies. So I'm kind of
not even.
They're not even going to get there. They won't.
No,
so I'm looking to be another Nerdstradamus moment for me here, where I said they ain't going to do that. So, however, company's latest sales forecast prediction for Alcon, Ubisoft originally targeted 718 million bookings in the second quarter, but estimated now they've been lowered to 553 million. So I guess that means that they need to make that much money from selling all that shit, and I don't think it's gonna happen.
I can't believe they estimated that high. You're just because it's Star Wars. The main character is not a known character. It's an original to the game. It has no interest to it. There's nothing appealing about her. I can't believe they would think they were going to sell 7 million. That sounds stupid.
You want to hear my theory? My theory is that they lived on Twitter with this shit.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And they believed the stan base, which are a very vocal minority, very vocal, and we'll touch on that in a minute, that they were so excited and there was a lot of people ready to go for this, when in fact, Ubisoft, who lives in a bubble, I think we can agree on that. Ubisoft lives in a massive bubble right now. They do not realize the damage to their company and brand. There's no way it was ever going to reach these heights because nobody wanted this game. Nobody asked for this game. Its game has been routinely mocked and ridiculed for months leading up to the release this week or last week. And here we are.
Yeah, but they're not.
And
they're not seeing that, Adam. They're blocking accounts that are criticizing them in any way. They don't see any of that shit.
Yep, they're blocking accounts on Reddit. They're blocking accounts on other forums. They are not listening to the fact that nobody likes this game, and that in fact that also it's massively broken. You've heard the stories of last week where all the retards who paid the lots and lots of money to get the early access, there was a bug that didn't allow progression. And when they patched it on actual release day on Friday, they said to all those people who had already spent, remember, 3 days. And 3 days, you could get anywhere from 8 to 20 hours of shit done in 3 days.
I've got to grab something, but I'm gonna give some advice to video game creators. It seems apparent and it's no it's not a big secret. Stop making games with ugly ass bitches as your main character. They don't seem to work. But I'll be back, guys.
So Samuel, what they did was they said you need to restart your entire game because your save files are irredeemably corrupted now after the bug fix.
So that's
Yeah.
I don't see how that's a fix for those people who are already
It isn't.
neck deep in it.
It isn't. They had to all restart or run the chance that they would run into progression blockers that they would not be able to continue through the game. So it's a disaster. They can't even get Darth Vader right. We watched it on Friday. We watched it again on Sunday. It's not right. So I want to getting past this. I just wanted that as the stepping stone to what I want to talk about here. And I'll give it before I say it, I'll give Devil a minute to get back so he can hear my segue into the next section. But Ubisoft, and I've asked this question before. I'm going to ask it again now, just to kind of pad the conversation. And I got this wrong. I thought Shadows was coming out now. It's not coming out till November, so I had that one wrong. But between this and Shadows, I feel like this is probably the end of Ubisoft because they spent so much money on these games. So much money. There's going to be no return.
I suppose that depends on where the funding for these games came from in the first place.
I've heard the answer that it would be the end of maybe of Ubisoft as an entity that exists by itself, and therefore it would be likely absorbed by somebody else.
Most likely Microsoft, who will then shut them down. Because as they've done with so many other game companies in the last couple of years.
Yeah. Or absorb them and really do nothing with them, or don't really allow that, or do nothing to change them from the rotting corpse there. Like Activision Blizzard is still shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's still shit. Bethesda is still shit. There's no improvement with them. But you think about it. Oh, go ahead.
Well, yeah, they are, and yet you still see them in the game. You still see them somehow they're finding the financial backing to continue to make shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, we may see Ubisoft go down that road as well. I mean, where they're technically independent, but not really, because they're answering to their shareholders, the people who fund them and all that. But those people who fund them are going to be like tinfoil hat time, like BlackRock, that kind of thing, which I suspect they already are. Which is probably why they're going ahead with this, despite the fact that it's very, very apparent nobody wants this shit.
I mean, this game is a disaster. It really, I am very happy to be proven right that I said this game was going to suck and it was going to be a buggy, nasty mess when it launched, and it is complete mess and disaster. How dense do you have to be to not see the writing on the wall? Not only let's take the desire for the game out of the equation for a moment. Not even to just realize there is a massive pushback by actual gamers, the people who spend the money these days, to getting these broken games that need massive day one patches and then patches for weeks on end to fix everything. People are tired of that shit. But here comes Ubisoft with Outlaws. No, we're just gonna put it out. Oh, here, day one patch. Oh, sorry, your early access shit is all corrupted. You can't get to continue. Got to restart.
Yeah, it's almost like they're treating the fucking fix patches as DLC, right? It's like, oh, this is if you pay so much, yeah, we'll fix it, kind of thing. It's almost as if they're treating putting a working game engine out into the world as a live service.
So you see, this game was a disaster that we knew was going to happen, but then they don't hear the warnings for Shadows. It's like, F it. We've lied to you. We've denied you. We've called you all kinds of names. We're pretending your protests were fake, but then we're pretending to actually listen. It's going to be another disaster, and that is I think it's the most expensive Assassin's Creed game they've ever made. I don't know. They're going to lose their shirts.
Yeah, yeah, they are. You know where I stand on this Assassin's Creed shit. I think they should have
Yeah.
fucking quit making them after 3. But as a matter of fact, I'm not 100% sold that 3 should have been a thing in the first place. And I actually enjoyed that game, but it necessary, it really wasn't. You know, so yeah, and they've just kept making the damn thing. I don't know how many Assassin's Creed games there are. I really don't. I only played the
I
first
think there's like 12. Like
the
somewhere
Desmond
between
arc. That's all I played. Yeah.
there's Desmond, there's like a couple more on the side, there's Black Flag, then there's 3 more of those, and then there's like 12 at this point.
Yeah. So
they're like 12 at this
I
point.
hear about a new one coming out every once. Well, the only reason this one even came up on my radar was because of the whole Yasuke thing, and even that aside, right? As a gamer, and I know I'm probably in a minority on this, but as a gamer, I'm just not that interested in the concept anymore. If I want to play like a ninja thing set in a specific period of time, I'll go back and play like Tenchu 2, right?
Yeah.
Which was probably a more accurate game anyway.
So we got this stuff going on here. So Ubisoft is just the latest, broadest example of the developer company that is deaf to problems. And I just tangented off for a second to kind of set the stage. But going back to Star Wars, so Outlaws is ruined. It's bad. It's everything. They've canceled just about every other Star Wars game that was coming out. I mean, Eclipse, that thing became vaporware fast. They put out a cinematic trailer. All the stands wet themselves because it was the High Republic. But then it just vanished. And they claim they're working on it. No, that game's never coming out. They tried to get out the KOTOR reboot game, which was being written by a massive socialist SJW cunt bag. And they flopped the Battlefront 2015 re-release, or original Battlefront re-release. They flopped on that. They had a very lukewarm release and reception for Jedi Survivor because that came out and it fell off. Just fell off. Nobody cared about it in the end. No other games. Nothing at all. So I got to thinking, and this is where I want to go. So we could get away from the crap and talk about something cool. So I want to bring up to you guys. Let's put on our way back helmets, and let's talk about when Star Wars games were awesome. When they were when LucasArts was producing amazing games.
This would have been, I think, the end of that came around the middle of the aughts. Right around there.
The last one they started was Star Wars: The Old Republic, the MMO, but Disney bought Lucasfilm right before it came out, and BioWare was already bought by EA at that point, so they were kind of, but that division of BioWare was kind of isolated. So that was the last little bit of influence that LucasArts, I think, had on something, but they were influencing it, but they weren't actually making it.
So I was thinking a little bit earlier than that, like with Jedi Starfighter, Jedi Power Battles, the original Battlefront 1 and 2. Those were great fucking games.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm going to go even farther back. I'm going even farther back when now when I was a kid, the NES Star Wars games were not good because they were way too hard. No little kid could play them. They were impossible.
I don't know anybody who's beaten Return of the Jedi on this.
I didn't even know there was a Return of the Jedi. I think I played the original New Hope one once, and then I rented the Empire Strikes Back NES game once, and I rented a Game Genie at the same time. And all I wanted to do was see what Darth Vader looked like in the video game. That's all I wanted. I didn't actually want to play it. I just wanted to see what he looked like, but I couldn't get the Game Genie code to work right where you could skip levels. And even when I think I got it to work once, and I got to Cloud City, and I didn't know how to play it, so I couldn't get through the level to get to him. So it was ridiculous. But that game was, the early levels were kind of interesting because the one level I could never get, I could only get as far on my own as the Battle of Hoth, where it's like a side scroller snow speeder shooting at AT-ATs, and eventually you
Mhm.
crash, and then your little 8-bit Luke running along the snow, and every once in a while you'd stop and you could hit a button and you would run off into the distance and shimmy up an AT-AT, throw in a thermal detonator, or shimmy down, and it would go dun 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 dun, and the AT-AT would fall over, and then you keep going,
Don't
and I never
Yeah.
got through the rest of that level. I just couldn't. I was a kid. I couldn't do it.
I never played any of them. It's just funny, the Game Genie.
Yeah.
You know, you used to get
I-
you used to go online to get cheat codes to make a game a little easier, or change something that was fun, give like the fighters in Street Fighters big heads and shit.
Mm.
Now you go online to get codes to make characters naked. It's it's so just weird how games have
evolution.
progressed.
The evolution. I want my naked boobies.
Yeah.
So, but then
How can I get Chung Li's clothes off?
I mean, some of the
Hey,
naked stuff goes back a ways too, like the mod for the original Laura Croft game, Tomb Raider, where she had like
Oh,
like
that's fair.
cubes for boobs.
Yeah, the boobs are like. As a kid, you're like, I got to see
Yeah,
them boobs.
and there was
Well,
just this
hey.
like dark Minecraft square.
Yeah,
Rock one.
nipples were little dark squares right there. The
and yet it was enough.
yes,
It was enough. But
That was cutting
during
edge
the
at the time, man.
during the late 80s into the early 90s is when the technology leap for video games happened. They were able to jump from 8-bit to 16-bit. And I didn't have any of the real what were then considered PC games of that stuff. I did play them in somebody else's house. Like I played X-Wing, I played TIE Fighter, but it was somebody else's place. They weren't mine. So I had a little experience with that. But for me, my real Star Wars video gaming experience truly began with the release of the Super Star Wars series on the SNES. Super Star Wars, Super Empire Strikes Back, Super Return of Jedi. Those games were incredible. And they looked so good. And just it was fantastic. You're playing Luke, Han, or Chewie in the original one. You do the Death Star trench run. And then when they did Super Empire Strikes Back, they added the idea of, okay, we're not going to let you choose your characters. You're going to play the character based upon their role at this point in the story. So you start off as Luke and you're fighting through the Wampa ice caves and that, but then when it's the Imperial attack on Echo Base, you're Han running through the base trying to get to Leia. And then it just kept switching back and forth between Luke and Han, Luke and Han, Luke and Han. And it was cool. And then for the first time, you get to see Vader in the game. It was his digital 60-bit Vader looks so cool. And it was a badass fight because you had, by the time you go through Luke's training on Dago and all this stuff, you unlock all of Luke's video game force powers and you fight Vader using force powers. It's cool stuff. And then but I gotta say, in the Empire Strikes Back, to me, it was revolutionary. The Battle of Hoth, where you're in the snow speeder and you literally you're going against these semi 3D AT-ATs and ATSTs. And in order to take down the AT-AT, you literally had to fire the tow cable and guide the snow speeder in circles around it to wrap up the legs. And then release it and fly away and get another one.
That.
It was so cool. It was so badass. I loved it, man.
You know,
And super
was
go ahead. No, go ahead.
in my the town I lived in at the time, there was an arcade cabinet movie theater that just said Return of the Jedi on it. That's all it said. It didn't say like, you know, this or that. But and it wasn't the entire story, it wasn't the entire movie or anything like that. It was a driving simulator with the speeder bikes on Endor.
Really? I think I remember
Where you had
that.
to like chase down this fucking scout troopers and shit and blast them out and hopefully not hit a tree. And it was really fast paced. It was awesome. It went through a lot of quarters on that.
Did you ever get in the arcade one where it was a dueling simulator and you had to either fight Boba Fett, Vader, or some other guys? Did you ever see that one? Where it was just like this giant joystick and you had to move it like this.
I ever saw it in
to duel
person.
shit. I was a place like that. I tried it a few times. I couldn't do it. It was just so unwieldy, and but it was cool to look at because you get in this seat like a chair, like I'm sitting in now, and there's this big ass joystick that's chest high, and you are basically you go through the different eras in the original trilogy, and you choose opponents to fight, and you have to keep fighting until you get to like Boba Fett or you get to Vader. Problem is, it's so unwieldy, you can't really do anything. You die early on every time. So you end up watching the trailer or the AI do it to see what Vader looks like, and it looked really badass. But I never was good enough, and it was such a remote place. I never saw anybody else really sit down and play it. So I don't know if anybody was ever good at that one or not.
Well, and the thing about those arcade cabinets is even back in the day, they were anything that you could get on console, and in some cases even PC, wasn't going to come close to the graphic power of those things.
No,
like some of them looked really, really incredible. Even like back when we were still playing shit like Mario 2.
Yeah, so we go back to us. I mean, Devil, what was the first Star Wars game you played? Do you remember?
No, I can't remember. I
right,
vaguely remember some of the older ones, but like I said, it's been so long I can't.
So, all right, so what's the first one you became obsessive over? Then do you know that? You think about that one?
First one I became obsessive over.
Yeah.
Probably was like the original Battlefront.
Really?
I think I played that a lot.
Good game.
That's about the earliest one I can remember. I know I must have played other ones before that. I just can't remember them.
Yeah, I remember renting Battlefront when I was living in New York when I was in culinary school, the original one, and I played it. I played it like through a weekend, and I had a good time. But I was by myself, and I didn't do online play, so I really didn't get that deep into it. But it was okay. I liked it. It was a good shooter. It was a quality shooter back in the day.
Yeah. Well, one of my brothers and I used to play the shit out of that together co-op. Like this was back when you could have one console and have multiple people playing on it. And so like we weren't doing anything online either, but he'd be on one side and I'd be on the other side. And then, you just kind of try to kill each other with your like 8 AI minions running around you and shit. But man, we played that shit for a year straight. It was glorious.
Really?
And when 2 came out, we were just like, holy shit, we get new stuff.
And then yeah. I remember I would say the Super NES, Super Star Wars ones are the first ones I obsessively played over and over again because it was such a happy thing to go to. It's like, oh, I'm gonna play Star Wars, yay! And then I remember when Dark Forces 1 came out, and that was just badass, just a good little first person shooter. I was never that good at it as a kid, so I never got past level 4 as a kid, not really. But I did love the idea of Kyle Katarn and the introduction of Kyle Katarn as a real character. But I would say I didn't really get obsessive about as an adult gamer until KOTOR, when KOTOR came out, because that's the only reason I bought an Xbox. That's the only reason I bought an Xbox, man. So I remember when I remember a buddy of mine in college said, "Dude, you hear about the Star Wars game coming out?" I said, "What is it?" It's like, "Well, it's take place in the Old Republic." I'm like, "Because you know me in prequel type stuff." I'm like, I don't care. But then he said, "But dude, you get to be a Jedi." I'm like, "Oh, I'll think about it." And then I really forgot about it, and then it came out, and I was hearing such good things, I just couldn't resist. So I got a used Xbox for like $30-$40 and bought the game for Christmas and went to town. And I remember just being so absorbed in it. I replayed it back to back, I think 2 or 3 times, because it was just so incredible to be a Jedi and fighting in this. And for me to be that interested in a prequel type story taking place not in the current main timeline, because remember, this is the 2000s. I'm like waist deep in the EU. I'm loving it. To be that interested in something that isn't taking place in the current timeline I'm enjoying, it was amazing. that I got so invested in, and it was so much fun. And then KOTOR 2 came out, and I loved it even more. Even the bastardized version on the Xbox, which is the bastardized version. It's not the complete version, but you can get the complete version now. I mean, at one point I became so obsessed with it. It was literally a decade later, 2012, right before Star Wars: The Old Republic came out. Me and a buddy, I had just repurchased it again for the PC because he told me, dude. I'm like, what? There's this website. This is before Steam and profession and modding was really a thing. You had to like go into the weeds in the internet to find this shit. He says, dude, there's these guys, and they got KOTOR 2 on the PC, and they data mined the game, and they found the shit that they didn't release. And they've gone back and they're rebuilding it bit by bit. All the extra content, they're putting it back in. Do you understand? And I said, yes, I do. Now, he understood this shit better than I did. So I let him figure it out. And then we meticulously went about inserting the mods into the files properly. And when I played it for the first time, it was incomplete because they hadn't fixed the droid planet, which has since been restored on the Steam version. It blew my mind because, like, oh my god, this game's even better than before. There's so much more to do, and all the characters have all the extra story, and look at all the extra lightsaber stuff, and all this is great. And it was so immersive, and it's what led me to really be excited for SWTOR as an MMO, which it was, to me, that was a fantastic time as well. But all these great Star Wars, and that's just the RPG stuff. I mean, you guys mentioned there's the shooters. I mean, you mentioned Bounty Hunter. There was way more than just the RPG stuff that I was personally interested in.
Just the flight simulators alone are totally worth it.
Yeah. And listen, because I was at PC Gaming, I missed Jedi Academy. I have it. I bought it on sale years ago for $3. I have all that shit. I just haven't gotten around to getting into it. But all these games that were out for years, I mean, Star Wars gaming, it was just, it's what everybody enjoyed in the late 80s, 90s, and through the 2000s. And yes, there were shit ones. Masters of Terras Kazi on the PS1, that was dog shit. That's one of the worst fighting games
I love
I've
that
ever
game.
played. I hated it. I hated it.
Yes, it is, but it makes your fucking thumbs hurt. It's so unresponsive, but it was fun to me.
Well, it was cool for the first 48 hours because I'm Luke Skywalker fighting, I'm Vader fighting, but then there's the chick with the metal hand gauntlet thing. It's like, what is this? What is this? She's the master of Terras Kazi. She's punching, and it's
You know what? You know, I'm surprised they didn't come out with is. Do you guys remember Bushido Blade?
Oh hell yeah!
Oh yeah!
Where you could kill someone with one hit. Why they didn't cross that with Star Wars, like with lightsabers? They should have, man. Because one hit would kill. Yeah. You think that they would have gone into that and had where you're, Sith and Jedis and stuff, and have it where, as long as the blades hit, you're fine, but one hit could end you. It'd have been a
you'd have to have like some kind of parrying system similar to, I know I hate saying it like this, but like a Dark Souls kind of thing, like where you got to have your timing exactly right, or oops, there goes your arm.
Yeah.
I mean, Bushido Blade, God, that game was no joke, dude.
Oh yeah.
I had no idea what I was getting into when I bought it. And I mean, I know I played through it a bunch and I never got satisfactory endings. Because it's just like, okay, I mean, what am I doing here? I don't know what's going on. I'm fighting these people and I'm either dying or winning.
You could beat the whole game by hitting the button 9 times or some shit if you hit the right time, because like I said, one hit could kill the other person if you time it right. And so it's all like kill the first person, one button, kill the second person, one button. You probably could get the whole damn thing hitting the buttons 9, maybe 10 times.
That had a cheese mode where if you just mashed in a certain way, you're gonna get through it. And it was always, can I get a better sword? Can I get this combo in? And It was a
Oh, this-
punishing game. I remember.
The
it.
spears were the way to go, man. You could hit
Yeah.
from more of a distance, or not.
You're
I don't know
ri-
if they were
oh, you're
spears as much as what
right.
were they called?
All right, you know what? We're
Like
off that
what
page, bro.
Naganatas.
Guan Yu uses. What are they called? Those the long
Halberd?
staff with the halberds. Yeah, like a halberd.
Yeah.
Use those
Like a
sometimes
Zambato or a Naginata. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. You know
because
what?
you had to get in close with the damn katanas and shit and the cleaver type swords.
Okay. Let's look up a clip of Bushido Blade. I want to look it up now. My memory is demanding.
I remember one time I was playing a buddy of mine and we were just mashing buttons. Neither one of us knew how to work the damn game.
That's how you
You know,
won.
because it was one of those. Like we were just mashing buttons and all that, and I'm like 15 feet away and trying to turn my character around because it was a difficult game to fucking control. And the next thing I know, he's sitting over there just pressing random buttons, and he throws a goddamn throwing knife into my back, and I died.
Yeah, I think you were able to throw your weapons, but you had to like hit a certain
Mhm.
button in like
Yeah.
order. And so yeah, you could literally like throw the katanas. But I love when you're fighting in the bamboo jungle or and stuff, and you're like literally cutting stalks of bamboo around you as you're fighting. They're just sliding off.
Okay, so here's somebody called the Cyan Man. He made a video a year ago. Bushido Blade was ahead of its time. Let's watch it. So this is the Cyan Man.
It still is.
We give full credit to this guy making this mini 7-minute documentary video on this. So let's watch this.
No, I don't need feet. Feet are pointless. Okay. Yes, you got me the first time. I personally have never heard of this game before, uncultured swine that I am. But thanks to my last video, which still blows me away at how many people saw it for whatever reason. So many people referenced this game. And so I got really curious. A Sheikah warrior. Oh my gosh, what an edgy man to be
I remember that dude. I remember that dude. He had like a rapier. I think he had like a rapier. Oh man,
Zorro.
he looks like gay French Zorro.
Life Crisis Zorro, or just the coolest guy ever. It's pretty cool. But it's got a lot
like
of interesting mechanics in there that definitely
Raphael
won't find in many
from
other
Soul
games.
Calibur.
Really?
Oh well, just the
Some
Zorro.
mechanics
fan.
in
Oh,
there
okay.
that
Game-
definitely won't find in
gameplay
many
of-
other games, especially from this time period. Oh, you've lost an arm, I see. Well, that was
Oh yeah, you could. Yeah, you could get limbs out. Limbs could be knocked useless. I remember the hammer.
a Jedi move.
She can't do that. Shoot her or something.
That's absolutely cheating. If you hit someone's limb, they'll stop using that limb. They'll switch to other arms to use their swords.
I bite your legs. I'm biting your ankles.
That was sneaky. You're just falling over there. You're never gonna catch me. I have so many bandages on my legs. Are you done having your aneurysm over there? Ow.
The fan throw. I
Mhm.
remember the fan throw. God, I did play the hell out of this game. It was my own. I didn't rent it. I owned it. So I did play the hell
Threw a
out of it.
freaking fan at me. This is not Mortal Kombat. This is serious. He's years away from, living again as well. No, I don't want to be getting in the... Well, what are you going to do down there, huh? Stay off my ledge. What'd I just say? Let's try POV.
Oh, dude. POV
Remember that?
mode.
Fucking
I remember that you had to watch the little avatar character up there in the thing to see what the hell you were doing, essentially, because once the blade was off the screen, you didn't know how you were standing. And number two,
Yeah.
you had to change your stance. Each character had like multiple stances you could do with your sword, so you really had to concentrate on the top thing for that, because otherwise you'd be like, how the hell am I holding my sword? Is it over my head? Is it behind me? What the hell?
Yeah. Jeez.
Hey. I can't see. I can run away too.
Oh, there's the
I can't
bamboo
run
you
away.
could cut down.
Very well. Oh, I'm alive. I'm dead. Actually. Oh, man, he really followed through on the Shine there. Oh, get uppercutted. Ow. Okay, what is slash mode? Your guts are no more. I'll play, please. Please, God. We are just cripples trying to fight. This is really dumb. Oh. It's okay. I didn't need that limb anyway. Oh, idiot. Oh, hit him. Okay.
I remember this mode too. I do remember this mode. It's basically like a challenge mode, and
Yeah.
keep going as long as you can.
What the? Perish! You fiend! Die! Man, this man's invincible. Crawl away, swine. Oh god, this man has suffered every atrocity and still manages to stand his ground. It is honorable, but your time has come, I'm afraid. Okay, just accept your death. Please
Remember all
accept your
those
death.
blonde ninjas, female ninjas that used to be all over the place?
with boobs and sexiness that don't happen anymore.
Accept your death! Die! What? It's like 15 minutes before he went down. Now that guy took one. See? You again are a problem. No, I don't need feet. Feet are pointless. Okay. Yes, you got me the first time. Okay, that was a lot of... That's ironic considering...
And if I remember correctly, your injuries carried over to each match afterwards, didn't they?
I can't remember that. It seems about
been a
right.
long time, brother. Yeah, I feel like they did.
You just lost an eye. Oh, sword clash! Oh. See ya! I see ya! You'll never catch me now! Okay. Whoa, he did a jump. Oh, never mind. I'm a freaking boss. Evidence points to the contrary, I'm afraid. The more I look at this kick, the more I question it.
There you
Yeah,
go.
this
Oh, here comes the cheese of the spear. Here comes the cheese.
thing's just cheating. I only
Albert
need one
just
move to
stabbed
beat
him.
everyone in this game. No one is good enough to fight. The Naginata. I was jealous of your haircut. I wanted to cut it off. Prepare your guts. See, I told you, just your guts were not prepared. You're right, I'm a god. This guy's hips are something else. Live by the Naginata, die by the Naginata. Zoro, the midlife crisis warrior, but as a gentleman. Okay, your defense is pretty good. But is it as good as my running away skill?
They showed there. I remember I used to use the Nodachi because of its long reach. I used the Nodachi a lot. Yeah.
I used to have one.
Really?
Yeah.
I had a shitty replica of the Highlander sword that my stepdad got me once, but it was a really bad replica.
Yeah, me and Sam are so old. He had one of the first gen of that weapon.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't like that. This is like 25 years ago, but it was. No, it was very real. It was 5 foot from end to end, and it weighed about 20 pounds. I tell a lie. That's a bit of an exaggeration. It was like a 12.5-pound sword, which is still really heavy.
Yes. Yeah, see, that was the problem with the bad replica I had of the Highlander sword, Highlander katana, was that the entire grip, the hilt, was metal. So it added like 3 pounds to it. It was completely unwieldy. There was no way you were going to wield that thing. So
the most important thing about
replicas.
The most important about freaking swords is the balance. Like I got a cleaver, like kind of sword thing, but it's so heavy front end. You can't really wield it. The only thing you could do is like hit something one time, and the weight would probably take some limb off. Like I could show it to you. It is freaking a beast. Like I said, only thing I could hope for is whatever I'm swinging at, I hit with the first strike, because if not, I'm leaving myself open to be like killed.
Well, you'll get Dermy, don't worry. It'll be easy.
That's a similar principle to what a Nodachi or an Odachi actually is for. They're heavy, they're sharp, but they're not like sharp. They're not meant for that. They're anti-cavalry weapons. The whole point of one of those things was to either lock it onto your saddle as you're riding through at about head height and just start fucking lopping people's heads off at 30 miles an hour, or if you were on the ground to break a horse's legs and bring down a mounted cavalryman.
Yeah,
Like it's a blunt instrument, and if you miss, you're fucked.
This thing's a freaking cleaver. It needs something at the back end of the pommel to be like a counterbalance, because it's just the way it's so off on it. Like I said, it's like using a cleaver, but that's all it is. It's just a crush and cut.
One of these days behind the scenes, if I can figure out where the hell I stashed it, I'll show you guys Franken's sword.
I love swords,
which is
I love them so much.
Yeah, we did a repair job with steel and Gorilla Glue, and it's way off balance now.
I remember when I was a kid. You remember those like coffee table books? There was one just called Swords that I got at a fair or something like that, and I would just religiously once in a while sit down and just go through it page by page and look at the swords. I love swords. Ever since I was a little kid, I just been fascinated by swords, and I love them. They're more civilized.
Me too, man. Me too. I don't spend the kind of money I used to on them, but everything that I own is a practical weapon. You know, none of them are, stuff that you can't actually take out and use.
Now, I mean, when the time comes and I get to a better office and I have the extra funds to do it, the expenditures to do it, I'm going to get a bunch of like video game and anime replica swords. They're not going to be real useful, but I want them just because it's the things I love. Like I want them.
Sure.
But they're just because I want to see those things.
Sure. I just
yeah.
Like the most guys my a certain age and generation and whatnot, we missed those days. We always grew up hearing about sword and people who knew how to use these more elegant weapons. Now the reality of them is that they're just a lot messier than everything else, but and so I there was a period of time, like you guys know, I used to cage fight. Well, I used to sword fight too. It was something that we considered training. I'm nowhere near like professional level or anything, but I was young and dumb and full of cum as it were. But we ended up investing in some quality weapons, and I did learn a thing or two. It was like my favorite piece that I have is a nagamaki that I named. What did I call it in Japanese? Let's see, Otoko no Kaimakusen, which loosely translated means man opener.
Ha! See, I did fencing when I was a teenager. So I did a few years of fencing. So I know that style of swordplay, which allows me to accurately understand proper movement. Because if you understand any basic sword training, it allows you, at least from a rider's perspective, I can extrapolate what a well choreographed fight should look like. And so I'm glad I have that training, because I understand parry, repost, form, stance, movement, all that shit. That without that, I don't think I would be able to construct a decent sword fight in any story that I've ever done.
This is the only sword thing I have. I would like to get some replica katana or something, but look at this.
Jeez.
Oh yeah, that's
a cleaver.
That's exactly what that is. It's designed to chop through shit using its weight, man.
Yeah. All you can do is swing this and hope, like I said, you hit with the first hit, because you're not going to be able to block shit afterwards.
Well,
you won't get a second chance.
Yeah.
Listen, home invader, you get them one hit, they're dumb. Oh, I remember that move. I remember that move.
Okay, yeah, we'll just keep doing that. You're too slow to follow my moves. I am an actual god among men. I'm the living embodiment of button spamming. I have asserted my dominance in this fight, I think.
What a gentleman.
I was just lucky there. Got rid of my fancy arm. I really enjoy this game's mechanics. I wish I had some better way to learn the controls. I think that's one of my main issues. Is there's not a lot of.
It's two women.
Walked off the
control thing. Did you just murder himself? This fight. It's taking a lot out of us. That was a dirty move. You coward. Beep, bop, beep, bop, beep, bop, beep.
Oh.
Ow. My best getaway plan. You'll never catch me now, you fool. Who needs legs when you can roll? If we survive this, we'll probably die of some rotten disease later. That was very desperate of you. Okay, I guess I'll just hit the back wall. Or die. Did you just teabag at me? That was quite rude. I have you on camera. Yeah, I see that. I see that.
That's right. What the hell voice am I doing right now? The voice of "You're going to die."
You know, limbs were overrated anyway, I think. Okay. Hoo-yah! Sneaky stab. Oh, okay. That I might have lost a nipple there, but that's not a big deal. Oh, okay. You got me again. That was not good. Okay. You have blundered. I'm a pirate now. Arr. Okay, I lost an eye, okay? You can't blame.
There came a point when you playing this game, it's like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. I just can't. Nobody's got left in this. It doesn't even show the final boss. Anyway, all right. So that was a nice little trip down memory lane there. Bushido Blade. It was a great game, and it was fun to play against somebody else. I do remember that. You know, like Samuel said, back in the day where you're both on the same console in the same room, and you can look at somebody and go, "Fuck you." For doing something.
Yeah.
Stop spamming that damn stab shit with the rapier. You son of a bitch.
Well, it was one of those games though. It was designed to be really fair too, because like you didn't have to know what the hell you were doing to get lucky and win in a single blow.
Yeah, but there was definitely a level, as that video alluded to. A lot of button mashing did happen. It's like, come on. But that's kind of in line what we're talking about, though, is back then you put out the game and it was either good or shit. I mean, that's the PlayStation 1. There was no internet connection on that. No way to fix it once it's out in the market, out in the wild. It had to be good or not. And there was a time when Bushido Blade found its audience. And we had a great time with that kind of stuff. And we could rent games. I miss renting games, honestly, because
never finish them in time.
Yeah,
there was that. But I mean, well, in the sense that one, there are certain games in my belief that are renter games only and really are not worth a purchase price. You know, spend the $7-8 for the weekend, have a good time with it, and if you really liked it, you get it. But if you could beat it or not.
Well, that's the thing, is renting was good for finding if you like the game before you put the money into purchasing it. But if a good solid game, you'd have to rent it like 3 or 4 times to get through it over multiple weekends. By the time you rented it that many times, you paid as much as it would have been to buy the damn game.
I mean, I usually rented games I wouldn't normally buy, like platformers or shooters and stuff like that, which were never gonna be something I was ever gonna buy. And once in a while, when I did buy them, I regretted it instantly, because they really aren't games I want to play them maybe for more than a weekend. So there are only very few games where I rented more than once or twice, or at the very least, if I rented them more than twice, there were several of us chipping in because it was the rental. We're all going to play it this weekend or something like that, and we're all putting in the time because we know we're going to hold on to it for a few days, and we've rented it several times.
Well, the best time to rent games was back during like the original Nintendo or Super Nintendo, because most of the games there weren't designed to be really long. I remember one of the games I rented like 3 times just because it was so much fun was King of the Monsters. I loved playing that fucking game. You know, there was no point to the story. I played through it so many times. It wasn't long, but it was just fun to do for a weekend. And so, when PlayStation comes along and you have these longer games like Legends of Dragoon that you literally had to rent 12 times to get through the whole damn thing.
Yeah, we used to rent the Sonic games, because I had a Genesis, not a Super NES, and we used to rent those games and the Road Rash games, like Road Rash 2. I can't tell you how many times I made my dad
beating people with
that
pipes and bikes.
over and over again.
I love that.
I miss those games so much. They're so much fun.
Yeah, I'd rent those types of games. Those are the games I would rent, and I would basically then purchase RPGs, which I knew were going to take a long time. Although Legend of Dragoon was one of the games where I rented it and then I went and bought it because, of course, I bought it late in its life. I didn't buy it; it came out, so I got it for used pretty cheap back then when that kind of stuff could happen.
All you people in the chat who are young, you will never know how great it is when your friend takes off on the bike and he's ahead of you and you finally catch up and club him in the head with a freaking bat. It's life affirming.
But that's the thing, though. There were games you could rent and and have fun with your boys and your guys,
or kick them into a cop or something. Yeah,
in the back of a car. Oh, yes. You hear angels sing.
It's good times. It's good times. But here's the thing: those were special kind of memories back then with gaming, and because these games were out, and these games knew what they were. They knew what they were intended to be. They weren't intended to be the 100-hour experience that every game seems to try and be right now. Which every game shouldn't be that. Some games can do that. Some games can't, and also they knew their audience too back in the day. All these companies knew exactly who they're making these games for. Their numbers told them who was going to buy it. They didn't overstep their creative lines or production values and stuff like that, and they made their games. And Devil, you're right. Like a lot of, and also when during the Super Nintendo and Nintendo rental days, the rental period times, the rental times were much longer because that was during mom and pop video store days before Blockbuster really asserted itself. And sorry, you only get it for 3 days. No, back in the day, you could rent one of those games. You had a week. You had a week to play a Nintendo game or a Super Nintendo game before you had to bring it back. You could hang on to that thing forever. It's only when the PS1 started coming out and that stuff's like, oh yeah, no, sorry, only 3 days because you got to bring it back. Yeah, sorry, but it was fun. And just to bring it back to what we're talking about, there were all those Star Wars games that were great, and it led to other games that were great. And it's what turned a lot of us into gamers. Honestly, it did. We had such a good time. I wouldn't trade any of those memories for any of that stuff. And there were even games that weren't on console. I would sit and watch a couple dudes I knew who would play the old PC games, like the Sierra games. The Sierra games like King's Quest, Space Quest, all those things. Man, that was just fun. Because a lot of those things, you either knew how to do it or you didn't.
And I didn't get to play those.
You had to figure it out.
Yeah.
Because I had always had a system of some sort in the house. But my mom would be the one with the computer, and she didn't want any of those games on there. So the only computer games I got to play was like Myst, which I liked. But like, yeah,
Myst was cool at the time. But yeah,
well, Myst was fuck. It was one of the early fuck with your head games. And once you figured out what you were doing, you could kind of progress along it. I never beat it, but I got pretty damn far along when I finally figured out, get the pages, choose a side, the one brother or the other brother. But with the King's Quest games, Samuel was right when he said you had to figure that shit out. Now, I knew a kid who knew all that shit, so he could burn through it. But when both of us first played King's Quest 3 for the first time. See, I had the Apple IIc, so it was my computer, so I could put games on it. And we played it. Man, that game, King's Quest 3, came with a manual that had the recipes for the potions you had to make for the entire game. And if you lost that,
I used to read through the bestiary for fun.
You were fucked. Because you had to the potion lists were not in the game. It was in the manual to make the potion that turns you into a fly, to make the potion that turns the wizard who's basically your captor, the guy who's holding over to turn him into to make the food that he can eat that will turn him into a cat, so that you could become the master of the mansion and learn all the magic, and then go off to save your sister who's being held in the fairy tale kingdom with the giant. I mean, shit like that. You needed the spell to turn you into light as a feather. I mean, you needed that manual. And boy, did we make sure I didn't lose that manual, because without that, you can't play the game. It's glorious. That was the kind of care they put into that shit back then. Interactive.
Yeah. Well,
Hmm.
go pretty far back with the gaming thing. My dad was one of the first gamers, right? And I mean, very first. Like, so I grew up in a house with a Commodore 64, right? And then Atari 2600, and then later, a couple of years later, an NES. You know, so like we always had systems and stuff around, but like the first stuff I remember playing ever was were word fantasies, where it was all text and all of your prompts had to be from text. And you had to figure out which prompts would actually make stuff happen. And
yeah, man.
So, you know, and there were dozens and dozens and dozens of these things, and they were all on fucking, you know, floppy disk. You know?
It's like,
So, I mean, that's what I grew up playing, and then we got into NES. And
see, I was always into games, and I played on the 2C or 2E, and then I got the NES. But my stepdad, he was a gamer too, but he liked his computer games. He was the kind of guy who would do the U-boat simulator for hours. He would do like submarine simulators, like shooting battleships.
I think I played those. Yeah.
That was his game when I was a kid. He was just when he wasn't working, that's the game he was playing. Or other strange thing. Or I remember he was into Wolfenstein when it was just a PC game, computer game. That's the kind of stuff he was into. And of course, NES, I over the years developed into an RPG player. That was what I ended up really liking. But I mean, I remember when I had my NES, I took pride in all my cartridges, and by the end of my run with the NES, I had roughly, I think, over 60 cartridges by the end of it. But I beat only a small portion of them, because I was literally a kid, and I would just go from game to game to game. Now some of them were co-op games. It wasn't God, what was the space shooter that was basically a platformer side scroller? What was that called?
There were a couple of them. The one that comes to mind for me is Life Force, but I doubt that's the one you're talking
Life
about.
Force. That is the one I'm talking about. Life Force.
Okay.
I was trying to get to that. I was trying to use it I was going to use the original, the what everybody knew to jump forward. Life Force with the snake on the cover, and that is the one. Me and a friend played every time he came to sleep over. We had a system. First, we'd play Contra. First, we'd put in the Konami code, and we played Contra. Then that was Soul Life Force was also Konami, so the Konami code worked on that too. And we'd play Life Force, and we just loved playing this. What we would do, and we pretend we're the pilots in there, like talking pilot lingo and all that stuff. Yeah, those games were fantastic for sleepovers, and we had so much fun with that stuff. So good.
See, I played Life Force with my dad, so I remember that one really, really well. It was interesting because you kind of got the feeling that you were in space fighting all the space stuff, which is actually the exact opposite of what the game is. You're in a shrunken down, miniaturized spaceship inside a human body fighting an infection.
Really?
Yes. That's why
no
the
idea.
enemies all look like rib cages and like a brain.
I know it's a
fucking eyes
brain.
and
Yeah.
tentacles and shit. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
really?
that's why. You're
no
inside
idea.
human body trying to cure it.
I just learned something new after all these decades later. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Wow.
Most people didn't.
Well, we were literally 2 9-year-olds playing this game, and listen, when I was a kid, my mom used bribery for me to get good grades. So if I got good grades every week for a certain period of time, she would get me a Nintendo game at the end of the week, and it worked. You know, I worked hard, and I got good grades. So it's here's a game. Now people made fun of me for that, but it's like, you know what? Fuck you. I have video games, you don't, because I was a good kid and I did what I was told. So yeah, like I remember when we got Life Force, because there was this place in Red Bank, New Jersey called Toy Masters, and it was the partner shop to an extra shop called Hobby Masters, which had a mini arcade in the front. That's where I did a lot of my arcade gaming on a weekly basis. But in Toy Masters, we had made friends with the owner. My mom had made friends, and he really liked us. So he would always hold games that he thought we would want to make sure there was a copy reserved. And I remember one Friday afternoon, he came in, he was like, "Here, I think you'll like this one." He holds up Life Force, says, "It's a space shooter," because he didn't know it was a space shooter. And I went, "Yeah, I'll take that one, Mom."
Well, it is. It's yeah.
You know it is. Yeah. But yeah, I remember when I bought that one, and that was a game that got a lot of replay value from me.
Yeah,
me
it's a
and
great
friends.
fucking game. It's highly
Yeah.
addictive, you know, and it was fun. It was fun beginning to end. Even when you were getting your ass kicked, it was still fun.
And you could beat it in a night. I mean, with a partner,
If you didn't suck.
Yeah. Hey, we worked hard at it to get good, and that my buddy of mine that usually was the friend I played with for 8-9-year-old. That dude had incredible eye-hand coordination reflexes for these games. Like he was the kid that could play Legend of Zelda 2, Adventure of Link. He could actually play that game and beat it. Well, I'm still sitting there going, can't Jake Link jump attack what? I couldn't do it. But he could. I would watch him play games I couldn't, because he already had the reflexes to play games at that age. And so, but through osmosis, I learned to be better at games by playing games with him, because I had to keep up in a co-op game. And it was fun. That like Life Force Contra, Super Contra, or Contra 2, all that shit. We played all those games, and there were several games like that we had in my library that would get played. Now you guys carry on for a second. I got to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
And they
do you remember a game called Battletoads?
Yeah, Battletoads was fucking fun as shit, especially if you like games side scrollers like that, like Double Dragon or Streets of Fairy. I love Battletoads. There's one level, I can't remember if it was Battletoads or if it was Battletoads 2 that had it, where you're on the cart, the hover cart. And
Yeah,
I
it's
think
like
it is
level 3 in the first one. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't get past it, man. It was impossible. The reaction time you had to have
And
to
I
get
never
past
did.
that was fucking retarded. I hated it. But I love the game. I love how the like cartoon dynamic of it, and how like the kicks and stuff. I really enjoyed Battletoads. But yeah,
it was a cool concept.
That one level was shit.
Yeah, and I've never beaten it. I don't know anybody who's gotten past it. You know, Battletoads is considered even today to be one of the hardest games of that generation ever made, because of how difficult specifically that level is. I assume things after it are also difficult, but I've never been past there. So
yeah, that's exactly it. There's certain games that just have levels that are so fucking hard. Like I was talking the other night, I can't remember what we were talking on, about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the original NES game. There's a level where you're underwater trying to defuse the bombs, and it's freaking hard as shit getting through that, because the little electrical things, you just don't get no time to swim past them. If they like so much as touch your toe, you're dead and stuff. So there's just certain levels in certain games that you're just like so frustrated with, and they made them harder than they needed to.
Teenage Mutant fucking Ninja Turtles.
Well, that was a key feature of games at that time, though. Part of the reason that you could beat the whole thing in one night if you were good enough was because they were unforgiving. Like they didn't make them, these long epic journeys, because you were never going to finish it. They'd never get their product seen by anybody if that were the case. So, they kept them short and really hard.
The game wasn't hard. The level was hard. That's all it was.
But back in the day, there was one setting to a game. Hard as fuck. That was it. It was hard as fuck.
Yeah, it
There
was
was no
it
easy
was
mode.
called Get Good Scrub.
Yeah, it's like you get good. It's like, sorry, kid, you're not good enough. Tough luck. I mean, it's just or like Devil and I've mentioned a long time, or with an RPG, understand, build levels. You just go through it, build levels, and you'll win. Yeah, I miss that I miss that level of quality. I miss that level of quality, and it was fun. Did you ever play the Ghostbusters NES game?
It's familiar. I can't remember though.
Is it
That
you're going
game.
up the stairs fighting ghosts and all that, and Zool's at the top, but I have never gotten to Zool. I've only ever seen clips of other people doing it.
Okay, I did. Okay, here's the thing. So Samuel sets it up nicely. The game is actually really freaking short. You have the block of you have a block of a map that is New York City, a bunch of buildings, and basically you're a bunch of faceless Ghostbusters. You're not even Venkman, Ray, or Egon or any shit like that. You're just some Ghostbusters.
Even if you were, you're pixelated blobs, so whatever.
You're pixelated blobs, yeah. So you're running around and you're busting ghosts. You're earning money. You're upgrading your gear, and then at some point, everything happens in Spook Central in the middle, and the video game version of them climbing the stairs in the movie, where they have to climb up to get to the top of the building. In the game, in order to climb up the stairs, you have to mash A and B repeatedly to build momentum to climb the stairs. The problem is that the way the game and the controller communicated, it was nigh impossible with a regular old square NES controller. You couldn't do it. And I would with friends, we would take turns. We'd hand it off to each other because our fingers were sore from going. And the problem is, like Samuel pointing out, the ghosts are all floating on the stairs, and you can't fight back.
You have to jump them or something?
No, you just have to outrun them.
Oh, shit.
You can't go very fast. But you needed like this anti-ghost jumpsuit to get through it, but that didn't really help anything because they would kill you halfway up. And Samuel pointed out, it was massive. The stairs were forever. So at one point while I owned it, you guys remember when Nintendo released their special controllers for the first time? They had the special one, which was just basically looked like what would eventually become a Super NES controller. Button. And then they had the big ass one that looked like an arcade joystick with buttons, and it had turbo on it. So now none of us actually like to play, and I got my mom to buy me the joystick one that looked like an arcade thing. I don't know why I chose that one. That's the one I chose. Problem is, we didn't want to actually play with that because it was weird to play with a joystick and the big ass buttons on a regular game. So we'd play Ghostbusters with the Ray controller, and then when we would get to that level, we wanted to switch the controllers. The problem is, the two hurdles in that. First of all, back in the day, if you unplugged your NES controller, some games froze. And they didn't like it when you put in another controller. And remember, the joystick one took up both player slots, both controller slots. You would plug them both in there. And the game would sometimes crash if we did that. And this game had no save feature. So you would always have to start over again. So it was always a gamble. It was always a gamble. Okay, so we're going up the stairs. Let's do it. And we just said, quickly, get it. So sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. So when it worked, we would turn on the turbo, hold down A and B, and you'd watch the Ghostbusters go like this up the stairs. They would just speed up the stairs. It was glorious. We thought we were geniuses. Only problem is, when you get to the top and fight Zool, there's no instructions how to fight Zool. There's no because you get up there and you have two screens. There's the door, there's the screen where the door to the afterlife, the spirit world is opened up, and you got Zool and you got the demon dogs are on there, and then she's shooting shit at you, and you're bouncing around. You can fire your proton beams at her. But then if you go down, the secondary screen is your timer, because you see Mr. Stay Puft climbing up the building, getting ever closer. Now, the couple times that we made it up there as kids, we would just keep shooting Zool, and the streams are already crossed, by the way. So it's not like you have to do the mechanic cross the streams. No, you're standing side by side. Your two little Ghostbusters side by side, and the blast they're shooting is the cross streams. So we're shooting Zool in the door, and nothing's happening. And Mr. Stay Puft keeps getting ever closer and ever closer. We're freaking out. What do we do? What do we do? And we would just go down and just, here's Mr. Stay Puft, and he reached the top, and it's game over. We could never beat it. Never beat it. Fuck
Man,
that game.
You never really realized it as a fucking kid, but who else would have fucking fucked the shit out of Zool?
I mean, when I was in high school. So when I was in high school, I did I was a theater geek, right? And so I was in acting class or whatever, and we had to come up with like a short play and all that, and characters and costumes and all that stuff, split off into groups sort of thing. So my group decided we were going to do Ghostbusters, but we're going to do it all fuckered up. And so the one girl we had in our group was going to play Zool. And we were explicitly denied permission by the teacher to have her come out on stage wearing nothing but bubble bath. That was apparently not okay. She was down for it, but we were not allowed to do that. So we settled on having her come out in a bathrobe instead.
She comes down. She's all, choose your destroyer. You're all 6.
Yeah, it was a weird little play and all that stuff. I ended up doing drugs with that lady later. It was a whole thing, but and then we had this other guy who was going to be the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, but he was doubling his like stance, I think. And so he came out and he had this Christmas lights wrapped around him, but you couldn't see him because they weren't on. But then we'd plug him in to simulate him, like, you know, going up in flames as the Stay Puft Marshmallow. It was a mess. Anyway, long story short, whole reason we did that, we all wanted to bang Zool. Or Gozer. It was Gozer the Ghost-arian. But
Gozer,
right.
Gozer, yeah.
Zool.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Okay, we just lost nerve points. We kept calling it Zool. Yeah, Gozer. But yeah, it was. Yeah, that's insane. It's nuts. But that's just an example of one of those games.
High school was a wild time, man.
Not for me. It was rather, I was actually quite a boring high school student. I wasn't that crazy. I was very milquetoast. Not that wild. But I still gamed a lot.
See, I had a school nurse ask me one time, what the hell is it this time? Because I was in her office so often, usually bleeding. Yeah, usually. That time I wasn't, though. I had been poisoned in chemistry. But anyway, long story short. High school was an interesting time for me.
Back to games and not Samuel's mischievous youth. But that's just an example, one of my best examples of a game that said, fuck you. You are never going to beat me, kid. Never, ever. And I had a lot of those games in my collection that I was proud of those 60-odd cartridges that I never beat or never got close to beat. I mean, I beat a few. As opposed to when I had my Super Nintendo, for the longest time, I took pride that every game I bought, I beat. I took pride in that until I got, but I think the first one I never beat of owning one. I mean, I think I read the games never beat, but owning one was The Secret of Evermore. And
I remember the name.
Well, I thought it was going to be, I thought it was a sequel to Secret of Mana at the time, not realizing that was its own franchise of some completed. Now, Square Soft back then totally, to use the modern day term from YouTubing, they totally used basically a fake headline to get our attention and make you buy it. And you get in there, and the story is this and that one. You're a kid living, I think your uncle's place, your grandfather's place, I don't know. And you have you and your dog accidentally traverse realities to some alternate reality of this 4-element world, and you're supposed to save somebody. I don't remember, but the trick is you're the kid and you get your different armaments, but in every different world you go to, your dog transforms into a new version of itself. Like at one point it's a fat roly-poly dog, or it's a robot dog and shit like that. And I got it, and like a good little soldier, I'm playing through it, but literally about, I would say, almost to the end of the game, like during the final levels, I realized, I mean, I'm winning. I'm winning. Nothing's beating my ass. I'm not losing or anything, but I realized I fucking hate this game. I am miserable playing it, and I don't want to keep playing it. And I just said, that's it. I put it down, and I said to myself, maybe I'll go back and play it. Never did. It just sat there in the drawer behind the other games. Never went back to it. And that was the first time with the Super Nintendo games that I didn't beat a game. And there would come time where there'd be other games I bought that I couldn't beat. Either I didn't like them or I just couldn't beat them. But that was a moment of shame for me because I've been so prideful. It's like I beat every Super Nintendo game I have. Not this one, kid. Not that one. But it wasn't necessarily a hard game. And I think that's the thing. You get to Super Nintendo during Nintendo was the fuck you, kid. These games are going to kick your ass. That's when the difficulty quality started to shift, I think. Super Nintendo, Genesis. Although Genesis games were harder than Super Nintendo games. They were harder in a lot of cases. But I still miss the idea of knowing I'm going to get this really good game. And it's going to actually entertain me and not disappoint me. And that's the fear we live in these days now. All these games we see coming out, are we going to have a good time? Are we going to have a great time? Is it going to be something that I'm going to come back to over and over again? And I wish I could go back to those halcyon days. I'm an old man and I hate it. I hate it.
I'm with you. These days everything that's come out is a risk. Like how much gameplay. First of all, how much gameplay is this going to afford me? Because if I'm paying $70, there better be at least fucking 30 hours worth of content on here.
For 70, I expect 40 hours for $70 at least. That's what I expect.
But I mean, like, I don't want to end up shelling full price for a game that's going to be finished in 6 hours.
Mm-hmm. That's why I liked renter games back in the day. It's 8 hours and you're done. This is not something I need. I mean, right now, when I played Dragon Age Origins a couple weeks ago, when we finished it the other week, when all was said and done for this last playthrough that I did for the gaming channel, over 70 hours for the whole thing through the DLC and the expansion. Now, I didn't play Golems of Amgaret because I fucking hate that DLC, but that would have only been like a couple hours because that's not a very long DLC. It's even shorter than Witch Hunt. But still over 70 hours in there, and that's for this case for a $3 purchase. I got my money's worth.
Oh yeah,
money's worth. We didn't do any mods on that one.
I bought an Oblivion port for the PS4, PS3 actually. Out of a bin at fucking Hastings a couple years ago that had both of the expansions built into it for like
the Game of the Year edition.
$10, and
the Game of the Year edition. That's the one I had. That's the one I had.
And I got it for like $10, and I got over 300 hours out of that. It was totally worth buying.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And I didn't even. Here's one of the things that I didn't realize when I started this Dragon Age playthrough for on the PC that we're doing on the other channel right now. It didn't occur to me for Origins to do any mods. But I've modded the hell out of Dragon Age 2 right now. I've modded the living hell out of it. It started with this because I'm playing canonical Hawk Mage because it's great. But you both well know if you're choosing Mage Hawk, if you're playing the game without mods, bye Bethany. You're stuck with fucking Carver. And I fucking hate Carver. I hate him.
I mean, neither one of them really matters to the full length of the story anyway.
But the first time I played the game, when I first bought it, I played Warrior. So my first experience was with Bethany. And I just found her to be such a good sister. She was sweet. She was kind. She got you, unlike Carver, who I learned when I replayed it as a mage, who's just a complete and total asshole. Bethany was great. I mean, there's this one scene, I haven't gotten to it yet in this version, where you're going to the brothel. And if you're a warrior, which I was that very first playthrough, and fortunately I had Bethany in my party, you deal with a desire demon inside the brothel, and she gets a hold of you, and she's going to kill Hawk. But Hawks has enough wherewithal to say, Bethany, give me a hand here. And Bethany, being a mage, is able to help you out and help you break free. And that just endeared me to her when I was playing it that first time. So unfortunately, in subsequent playthroughs, because playing mage is just the way to freaking go in Dragon Age 2. It just is for me anyway. And it's canonical too, and I like to play canonical. I'm stuck with Carver. So it's been years since I played Bethany. So when we were starting up Dragon Age 2, before we got to it last week, I'm thinking to myself, this is a PC. There's got to be mods for this shit by now. They got to have mods for this shit. There has to be a mod that as a mage allows me to get Bethany instead of Carver. There has to be. And there is. It's called Twinception on Nexus Mods, where basically neither twin dies. You get them both. Both twins survive. They simply cut out the scene where the ogre thrashes said twin in the opening prologue battle, and then they're simply both there. And they have conversation points, dialogue points. Yet there are some moments where they're both standing on top of each other, like clipping on each other because they're not supposed to both be there. But it's great. Yeah. I love having Bethany right now. I mean, we're getting towards the end of Act 1, and I'm going to be leaving Bethany behind in Kirkwall to become part of Magic Circle. And I'm going to take Carver with me. I'm going to send him off to be a Grey Warden. And it's so nice. And of course, there's a lot of other mods. Now here's a note for this. If you guys are playing this on PC, I just figured this out yesterday because we'd played for about 2.5, 3 sessions. And normally, because I have my experience on my PS3 version, where once I've installed everything and I start the game, all my special DLC shit is there, including carryover data from completion of DAO. But that isn't how it works in the PC version, whether it's Steam or on EA Store, and I suspect GOG too. What you have to do is, and I didn't think to do this because every time I tried to do it in Origins, it said, sorry, the BioWare servers no longer exist. When you log into Dragon Age 2, you have to log in with your current EA account, not a BioWare account, but your current EA account to unlock all the DLC in the game. So I spent the first couple
I think I'm
of
just
sessions. Yeah, well, you're not streaming it. I am.
No, I'm not, but I will continue to play it, and I'm just going to continue to play it offline on my fucking PS3.
Because you're not streaming
keep all my stuff.
Because I want to. Well, I struggle. I'm going through the first 2 parts of the game. I'm thinking, why haven't I gotten my invitation to the Black Emporium yet? Because I did what I always do. I fucked up my face for Hawk in my creation. He had too much fat face. He had baby fake fat face. If Ariel's here, she'd be making fun of me at how fat my Hawk face was up until yesterday night when we finally unlocked everything. I went to the Black Emporium and I fixed it. But for the first couple sessions, not counting the prologue, but once the first few missions in Kirkwall on Nightmare mode, we're sitting there struggling because it's like, man, it's so hard to fight. I'm used to all the free shit I get. All the weapon packs, all the bonus shit, all this awesome gear that is just so overpowered for Act 1 that allows you to just steamroll shit. You still have to do strategy on Nightmare Mode. I mean, I have to do pulls. I have to move people around. I'm having a major problem right now, especially with Varric and all the melee characters. They're not following my tactics commands right now. The mages, they're following their commands. They're doing what I want them to do with their tactics. But Varric isn't. Fenris isn't. Aveline isn't. Carver isn't. They're not following the commands the tactics putting in. So they're not taunting. They're not doing big attacks. Right now I've got Varric already a couple levels into Bianca where you've got a rhythm triplet and you've got his really good attacks in there, and I've got Lancer's spear, all that shit. I have to go in, I have to micromanage Varric. And when I do, though, oh my God, he just melts a dude. It's just, I just launch 3 abilities in a row and he just melts somebody. I love Varric. I love Varric. He's so good. But it's frustrating because the game, I used to know way back in the day the proper tactics to make them freaking work. And now they're not listening to their tactics. So it's frustrating. It's frustrating, but because you still, Nightmare mode, even though I'm coasting most fights, I'm still losing some people here and there. I mean, I've got Spiritual Hero now and Revive, so people go down as Hawk, I can res them up, no problem. But the fights require strategy, and even with the gears it is now, it's still a challenge. They can still get my ass if they fuck up. But especially if I'm dropped into a fight where I don't have the tactical advantage in setting characters up, because you know how it is. I mean, I will kite the entire train of mobs like a third back in whatever level I'm in, just so I can find a narrow path where I can have a choke point if I want it. And then I just drop Aveline or whatever melee I have in there, and it's just me and 2 other range just pelting them from behind the line when it's possible. That's how it works. I love it. It's great. I'm having a lot of fun. And the mods are good. But we still have a problem. I'm still trying to figure it out. There's an FPS problem with the game. Big one. Where as soon as it drops under 20 frames per second, cutscenes skip. And sometimes battle skips. And no matter what fix I find, no matter what mod I get, it will not fix it, and it's frustrating too. That's mods are cool, but I would trade it all, even Bethany, to be streaming it on my PS3 where I don't have to deal with any of this shit. I would.
Yeah,
I would.
Yeah, I'd be with you on that. It's I've never been much of a modder anyway because I find that it tends to break more things than it solves long term anyway. And I'm not a PC gamer. The only time I ever modded anything was like with the Fallout games with their modding, system that they've got with those and shit. But even then, like, yeah, it's just one of those things. It's like, I mean, yeah, if it's not my first playthrough, I'll have some fun with it, but I'm not going to fuck with it the first time through at all.
Oh, never. I mean, this like you said, this is my umpteenth millionth playthrough of Dragon Age 2. I don't care if I'm adding mods to. I haven't used it. I used one alteration mod in this one. I've added a mod that expands the subcategories to all the skills. Instead of just 2, they have 4 now, so I can really customize all my spells and abilities. That's pretty cool. But I did put in a mod that I immediately took off tonight. I found a mod that said increase the level cap to 100. And I thought, hey, that'll be cool. So we'll get really high levels. Problem is, the first fight I did gave me something like 30,000 experience points and 75 ability points. I was like, whoa, no. That's too much cheese. For Act 1 to be like level 33 to Act 1, too much cheese. No. To be a gravity mage or force mage at the start of Act 1, I can't do that. No. That's wrong.
I mean,
that's wrong.
In DA2, Gravity Mage is like the most broken thing in the game.
Yeah, but I had already used my first specialization point to get Spirit Healer, so that I can be so I can say fuck you Anders after the deep roads, because I like to take Anders on deep roads for story purposes. But then after that, fuck you Anders, get the hell out of my party, you stupid son of a bitch. So then I can take over healing and not have to worry about having it, because my original Dragon Age playthrough, I had to have him in every party because he was my healer after Bethany was out. And I hated that. So
because the elf isn't any good at healing. She only really does evil shit.
No, Meryl is a blood mage. Meryl's a blood mage. I mean,
I love that character.
She's a sweet little thing, but she if you don't baby her, you get her dark ending. I keep reminding myself as I'm playing right now to remember, always checking on Meryl. Always checking on Meryl as we keep going, because then I gotta get that right point where I have the right conversation to tell her, don't do this. I'm gonna go talk to the keeper, so you don't do this and get everybody killed even though the Dalish are dicks, they don't deserve what they get from that. They don't.
Yeah. I love Meryl. Meryl's probably one of my favorite characters in DA too. So much so, actually, she doesn't have that. If you baby her enough times and you romance her, and then she becomes like your like lover or whatever, she emulates you.
Really?
She goes down this path where she's still like doing like obviously apostate type shit, but she's not vengeful, she's not spiteful, and she's not looking to cause more harm than good. She's trying to better herself because she wants to be worthy of your love, kind of thing. Actually, really cool.
See, despite all my playthroughs, I've only ever romanced Isabella because I can't not romance Isabella. I love Isabella.
Isabella's a whore.
Isabella is my pirate queen.
She's a whore
too.
She
I've told Adam that a couple times. She's that freaking olive skin with the bandana on.
Titties.
And oh god damn.
Titties. Listen, when we were in Dragon Age Origins, all the women were busty, but it was this kind of the same thing. And then you get to Dragon Age 2 where they upgrade the graphics a little bit and the character artwork, and then suddenly you get introduced to Isabella, and she turns around and she's got these big old fucking titties. It's like, when I saw that, I said, "Oh my god, how can I not? How can I not?" And then I love the twist is the fact that if you complete all her proper quest lines before the end of Act 2, and she ditches you at the beginning of the Kunari battle, she comes back. She's like, "Fuck you for making me love you. Fuck you. It's God damn you for making me care about you. And I'm bringing back the relic. God damn it, Hawk." And I just said, "Love you too, honey." I love it. I can't wait for that moment in this one. It's gonna be great. I love it. Well, here's what I'm going for in this right now. I've done it once before, but I don't remember the proper path to it. I'm gonna try and get the Arashok's respect. I'm gonna try and get the Arashok's respect. And I'm also going to try something I've never been able to achieve before. I'm going to try and become Viscount.
Good luck.
I've never been able to do it. I don't even know what it requires to be
tricky.
Viscount.
Yeah, I've never been able to become Viscount either.
Yeah, I've never been able to do it.
Well, one of the requirements is to gain the Arashok's respect. So there's that.
I've done it. I've gained and I've done it before without cheese. Without looking it up. I've managed to do it. So I'm being very careful with my Kunari interactions right now. So I'm hoping to get it.
Fenris is helpful.
Yes, Fenris was there. He was there. I just, because I was going, we were doing the first quest with the dwarf who wants the bomb material from the Arashok. So you go kill the Talvashoth and
Talvashoth.
Yeah. And because I was doing some sketchy shit, I thought, you know what? I'm not going to bring Aveline. She gets angry when I do sketchy shit. So I left Aveline behind and I took Fenris because I'm not going to take Carver because fuck Carver. So I took Fenris and I just happened to have him with me when I went to talk to Arashok, and then Fenris takes over. I'm like, and I remembered, oh shit, yeah, Fenris knows how to communicate.
He's a Tevinter.
Yeah,
he's a Tevinter. He's had a lot more fucking exposure to the Kunari than anybody else in your party has.
Yeah,
like he speaks some of the language.
Yep. So I was like, damn, I gotta remember to bring Fenris every time we go talk to the Arashok. So it's the nuances of this game. That's why I love it. And I didn't do it for Dragon Age Origins because it's good, but it's not as great. Every time there's banter in Dragon Age 2, I stop when we're playing because the banter is the best. The banter of Dragon Age 2. And I've said this before, I'm gonna say it again. The Dragon Age 2 crew, they're my favorite crew. I love the Dragon Age 2 crew. They are all so great together. And I just got Isabella, which means it's time for Isabella and Varric to be in the party at the same time and to have some of the best banter back and forth constantly.
So let me ask you then, if you make it a habit, and I assume a long time habit at this point, of leaving Anders out as much as possible because, what happens. Have you gone through all of the walking banter between him and Fenris by any chance?
No, actually, for the first time today, I was getting a lot of more banter. I mean, I remember it, but I was doing a lot of Varric Fenris banter. I mean, I use Fenris quite often, because I like Fenris.
Mhm.
But I love Varric's constant brooding jokes.
Yeah.
But no, I think in the past I might have, like, maybe in the original playthrough, but that's over a decade ago at this point. So
What's
I
it's
don't remember.
interesting. It takes the whole Templar mage dispute and puts it in an interesting perspective, because obviously you know which side of that Anders and Justice later vengeance lands on that issue, and he's very vocal about it the entire fucking time, like from the moment you meet him in Darktown to when he fucking explodes the world. Fenris is an abused slave of mages, so his
wants
view is even a
complete
little more
control.
extreme than the average Templar.
Mhm.
He doesn't want just control of them, he wants them dead.
Yeah, I had to, because I want to have friendship with Fenris and not rivalry. I had to reload tonight when I accidentally did a rivalry conversation. Like, no, I want friendship. I want, because I prefer friendship. The only person I will go rivalry with is Carver, because like I said, fuck Carver, fuck Carver.
Yeah. It's just there are several interesting points where he'll be talking, like, Anders will be going off on his, like, oh, rights for all mages, and Fenris will be like, all right, what about everybody that you people have fucking murdered? He's like, how are you going to make amends to them? What about their rights? And Anders is like, well, that's not what we're talking about. And he's like, no, that's what I'm talking about.
That's right. The banter and even though the voice acting is great in DA2, the voice acting it's superb, and everybody, when they're doing that banter, I feel the fun they were having in performing it.
Mhm.
They really are leaning into the jokes. I mean, like I said before, my favorite one is one of my favorites is Isabella and Varric, and she's talking about, Varric, I can't stand it. I need to do it. He says, well, what's stopping you? Well, it's right there in front of me. I need to run my fingers through it. The chest hair. And it's just, and it's this whole conversation about how she wants to just run her fingers through his chest hair. And there's another one where she makes just some horrible sex joke. And at one point, Hawk usually doesn't get involved in them. But one of the rare times, Hawk just goes, Isabella. She goes, what? It's just so good. I love it. I'm having a good time. I just want to, when we're done here tonight, I'm probably going to go back and continue to try and find a way to monkey with it, to try another fix, to try and, if I can just get the FPS to stay above 20 frames per second, which it doesn't make any sense, because even though we call my old girl, the computer, this computer is newer than the game. It was built after the game, so everything within it should play fine. But because EA fucking sucks and they didn't never optimize the game, everybody playing it now has frame rate issues. So it's not so much me, it's the game that wants to just drop below 20 frames per second. It won't even stay over 20 frames per second. If it stayed and I watch it, because one of the mods I put in for performance to make the DirectX 11 work right, it put an FPS prompt up in the upper right-hand corner, which I personally hate. I don't like to see my FPS numbers. It distracts me. But I'm watching it now, and every time the stalling or stuttering and cutscenes happens, I see the FPS drops under 20. If it stays above 20, the game runs fine. No skips. Drops under 20, it skips. It freezes. It partially freezes while the dialogue keeps going. So there's got to be another fix I can do. I've done several mods, several going into the settings and adjusting numbers in the this and that. I got to keep looking. There's got to be something I can do.
I'm sure you'll run across it. I don't know.
Eventually, I've tried 3 or 4 things at this point.
Yeah,
I'm having such a good time, and I want everybody to enjoy it and like have a full enjoying experience while we're doing it. So.
Yeah. Like I've been jonesing to play Liza P again, but because my current setup won't allow me to stream that, I'm really having this internal debate. Do I go and play it anyway? Because I really want to,
have some
even
fun.
Though I can't stream it.
Have some fun. You deserve it.
I'd love to finish it. It's a great game. It's gorgeous, But meantime, I've been I finished. I think I told you, Adam. I finished the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC.
Yeah. Oh no, you didn't tell me you finished it. I don't think you did tell me you finished it.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago. I will be perfectly honest with you guys. Those of you out there, you can give me all the hell you like about this. I do not care. I cheesed the fuck out of the final boss fight because I died to that sumbitch at least 83 times. Fuck him.
Dude.
I
will never say in a Souls game, I will never say don't cheese. You win is a win. Win is a win.
Yeah. So no, the way I did it was kind of fucked up. But
well, there's a fight coming up in the deep roads. Remember the first time you fight a giant spider in the deep roads?
Yeah.
There is a trick where if you get up on a platform, it can't get up there, and you can range it to death, and it never touches you. And I'm gonna do it again.
Yeah, there's a couple of things like that in the Shadow of the Earth Tree. Like the dancing lion, which is like one of the first bosses that you encounter in it, occurs a second time much deeper into the realm of Shadow. Except this time, instead of just switching between a handful of elements, he also has a mode where he just inflicts fucking death. Which is like, it's just stupid. So, but if you have a ranged weapon, you don't actually have to enter that arena, and you could just like ping him until he's dead. Yeah. You just got to be careful because when he switches into death mode, right, he spawns 3 of the fucking basilisks behind you wherever you are. So you just got to be mindful of them. So kill them, and then you can go back to pegging him to death. And that's the second time. It doesn't work the first time. First time you're locked in an arena with him. But that was I did cheese him, but I also beat the original one fair and square. But with the final boss with Radon, it was, I had nearly gotten him so many fucking times, and I
hate that.
I hate that push,
like that little bit that's left, and you just kill yourself. Just
dozens of builds and setups and all kinds of shit. And so eventually I went and I found a strat that actually does work, but it's super fucking cheesy. So you cast a couple of spells that make you essentially invisible, and when you enter, you wait until he starts moving before you move, otherwise he'll detect you. Then you make your way around the arena almost to the back of it till you can just barely see where he walks up by the very back of it. And then you toss a jumbo-sized pot of scarlet rot and 2 jumbo-sized pots of poison, and then you use your mimic veil to turn into something and just sit there and wait.
And he dots himself to death.
He dots himself to the second phase, and then second phase is don't move, stay in your mimic veil form, because it's not dotting him, but then he just eventually wanders off and just fucking dies.
Oh man. Nobody nobody tell Dermy about this. Nobody tell Dermy. He's almost at the expansion. So we need to watch him lose his shit over these bosses.
But if you do any of this shit wrong and get his attention in any way, he will bury you. That's why you don't move in the second phase.
Has anybody legitimately beaten him?
Yes, several people. I've seen some speedrun shit where people have gone in one shot.
I can't take speedrunners. I don't understand speedrunning. I don't get that.
Well,
I never will.
The first guy to one shot him, who I don't remember his channel name or whatever, but I think he's actually registered as like the first person worldwide to have one shot him. He went in and he stacked so many goddamn buffs before he even went through the door. That he just is like, there's no chance. Radon's still pulling that. So he does this like twisty move where he comes flying at you in sort of a crescent circle and then lands on you. And that's generally how he starts the fight. Just before he hit, dude pokes him in the fucking face as he's spinning towards him, and it just dies. Doesn't even go to second phase.
Really?
Yeah, it was impressive. But also, there's no way I'd remember the order or the sequence of the thick of like 50 buffs that the guy laid on before he went in.
I mean, the one dude I know, let me solar her, or he says let me solar him now for the expansion.
Yeah,
that dude I just respect because that dude, he's the ultimate. He's the
ultimate. Oh, he fights him legit. Yeah,
that dude just understands. That dude has a level of, I don't want to say full autism, but he perceives these games where he can read the movements of the models and knows exactly when to dodge at that perfect moment.
That's been the biggest problem with people learning Radon, even people who have gotten really good at Millennia. Radon is different because Radon's hitboxes are massive and there's no telltale about where exactly they end. So like when when you think you're in the clear, you're not. You're gonna get hit. It's the hitboxes on Radon are fucking stupid huge.
Dermy's going to pull his Hamas beard out when he plays that. He's gonna pull his beard out, and it's gonna be glorious.
Yeah, he is. He's gonna have a hard time with that because everybody has a hard time with that at first, and it's gonna suck. And it's. I'll be honest. That's the reason I cheesed it. It wasn't fucking fun anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
there does come a point where I'm doing this to achieve my challenge, but suddenly it's no. This game is fucking with me now.
Yeah.
This is yes. I just want this over. Get it done. Finish it.
Yeah. To be fair to myself, I was playing it on New Game Plus 3.
What difference does that make?
They're harder.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. You get more runes, but in return, everybody else gets higher damage output and higher defense and more HP.
Okay. See, if I ever went in there, because I did, even when my my original PS4 hard drive crashed, I think I did save my Elden Ring data. So if I ever went back, it would just be my first New Game Plus. So I guess
so that you'd be New Game Plus 1. Yeah.
Yeah. So because I only played it through the one time. Still up on this channel. If you guys want to watch my full 25-part playthrough, most of it, I did some stuff off camera, but all the major stuff is on camera. You want to watch it? It's here. It's on the playlist. It's on the. Just go check it out. You could have a good time watching me learn to dodge better. Shut up, Legatus. It's still there. And we were talking about earlier, I've been going back and looking how I dealt with certain bosses compared to how Dermy's dealing with it now with his current playthrough. And I just like telling Dermy, yeah, I did that better than you. But it's fun.
You know what? If Dermy reaches out to me, I will help him out with stuff. Like if he wants some advice or whatever, because I'm on New Game Plus 4. I do know something about some of this stuff.
Well,
you know,
he's got Static there. Static's played as much as you have, and he's kind of been coaching Dermy through certain things. Because this is Dermy's like third playthrough, I think. Just a new character. He did a new character with this one. It's not a New Game Plus. It's a complete restart. But he doesn't remember anything from his first playthroughs. And Static has, I think, played this as many times as you have, maybe more.
Yeah.
And he's been he's been Dermy's semi Sherpa on Saturdays when he's been playing. But yes, you can just show up on Saturday and help him out there, because I'm no help to him during that. I sit there and taunt him and make fun of him.
Yeah. That's true. But like I could have helped him with Niall. Like there's. Yeah. You don't have to go for like some asinine strategy. You just gotta just dodge the fucking spirits and hit the dude when he throws the fucking whirlwind move.
Dermy's worse at dodging than I am. Okay, he's worse at dodging.
Well, that's his problem then. Yeah, if he's not gonna parry, then he needs to learn how to master dodge.
Well, he's doing a dual wield katana build like I did.
Then he needs to master dodge.
Yeah. See, I'm not a trash dodger. There are times where I get in the zone and I can do really well, but I could have been better. Then again, this was the first time I played a game like that, so I didn't have any sort of real rhythm. But I still managed to figure out strategies to do it. And of course, I do lean towards brute force when necessary. Yeah. And I told you earlier, my strategy was that is charge in, get him down to 50% as quickly as possible. He does the whirlwind, gets rid of the spirits, and then I summon Mimic, and then we just tag teamed him and he went down. So
yeah. See, I will use the summons too. Like that's something else that a lot of players would be like, "Oh, we shouldn't do that." And I was like, "Why not? They're in the fucking game. They're cool to use." You know. And so and I will lately, I've been experimenting with some new ones because they gave us like another, I think, 10 unique fucking summons in the DLC, and some of them are pretty fucking cool. But generally, I just use the Mimic because the Mimic is essentially another me.
It's me.
And it's another me that draws aggro.
Yes, I've used the Mimic
minions.
as a tank. I've used the Mimic. One of my first strategies when I was doing that fight, I was watching it last night. The Mimic was holding the hate for the spirits, but I wasn't good enough to take on Niall all by myself. I wasn't a good enough dodge tank. But Dermy didn't even have the Mimic until last night. That was the first time he got it. I mean, he hadn't gotten it, and he hadn't picked it up yet. And Static said, "Go get the Mimic." He was like, "No, I'll use this dude." I'm like, "No." He said, "No, go get the Mimic." It's easy.
There
It'll
there
make it easy.
there are some pretty good other summons to use for different
Oleg
things.
was
But
okay. Oleg's okay. I mean,
Oleg's a really good beginning of the game summon.
I didn't
Actually,
have him. I had Kristoff. He was my go-to early in the game because he was ranged and he would teleport around the map while fighting shit. And I used him. And then once I got Mimic, though, it's me. So that I got double rivers of blood going. How can I not want this?
If you have double rivers of blood going, something else that goes really well with that, aside from the Mimic, is Black Knife Taiki.
My go-tos I usually had Rivers of Blood, but then I had I read the name and Dermy Fine picked up. It's particular katana that its power attack is just a rapid, quick slash of an arc attack. And I would swap between that and Rivers of Blood depending on the type of boss I was facing to get through it. And that's how I got through the game in the end. Those two.
I got a new great. I got all three of the new great katanas, but my favorite one, which is not as practical as some of the others, but it's still awesome, is the Dragon Hunter's blade, which is specifically formulated to hurt dragons, and it's got an Ash of War that basically launches like a blade of anti-dragon energy.
Really? That's cool.
Dude, so I beat the DLC, and then I beat the game again, and now I'm on New Game +4, and I ran up against Exikes, the rot dragon in Caelid. Right, I went up to him, 4 hits in the fucking dome, and he's dead with this thing.
Wow,
it's beautiful.
I remember during my game, my basic one playthrough game, I developed a particular strategy for dealing with dragons. Is get charging. If it would, depending on where the dragon was, how I fought it, I'd mount up and I do a running charge, and I would strafe him a couple times until then I'd summon Mimic, and Mimic would take some aggro, and then there I am. And once I figured out that if I attacked the wings and the legs enough, it would stun the dragon. That was always my strategy. Flank it, go after the wings and the legs, and then it was stunned. And then eventually between me and Mimic, we just slice and dice it to death every time.
Yeah, and that's always probably a really valid strategy for pretty much most builds as far as the dragon's concerned, because regardless of what their special niche is, like the rot or the frost or the magic or whatever, it doesn't they all have essentially the same movesets, right?
Yeah.
And they all have essentially the same biology and all that stuff. So that's actually a really good strategy for this. The reason that I bring up this katana is because you don't need his head to be at your level to hit it with this katana. Because if you use the Ash of War and you're close enough, right, you're gonna hit him, even if he's out of reach of the length of your blade, because it kind of launches this beam of energy at him.
So
it's fucking sweet.
It's the same as the weapon you basically use to kill the giant snake demigod guy when he transforms into snake. You get that.
No, it's not quite like that. It's a little bit more like you remember
same concept though.
Yeah, it's more of an arc rather than a beam. I guess I described it stupid, but yeah, essentially the blade, like this energy blade, detaches from your actual blade and just shoots out.
Oh,
hits the thing. But it's really, really effective against dragons. I used it against fucking Bale the Dread. I can't wait to use it against Plassey. I love it. I love this fucking weapon.
Hey, you earned it. You earned it.
Yeah.
You earned it. Use it, man. Use it. And see, I'm gonna end tonight with us talking about these fun games. I'm not gonna bring up the article that Dermy put up because that's gonna take us down to an annoying discussion. I want to keep us in this positive, happy nerd gamer mindset right now because I don't want to get away from that as we wind up, because we're over 2 hours. I do kind of want to wind it down tonight. I don't want to go much longer because I don't have any other topics. This, thankfully, I gambled, and taking us down gamer nostalgia into things with luck, it went the whole show. I'm very happy with that. I gambled and it paid off. So my message to everybody as we go through the end of this, and hail to everybody who's been coming in and just hanging out. You got chat's been quiet tonight, but you guys are just clearly just chilling out, listening to us, and that's fine. We're happy to have entertained you tonight with our gamer nerd talk. Go play some games, guys. if you are, and I know personally, I got a lot of stressful things going on in my life right now. Streaming Dragon Age 2 for you guys, having some fun on the gaming channel, talking games like this, it really lightens the mood. Play some games, have some fun. Go back to your libraries, find the games you love. Play by yourself, play with friends, have a good
play
time.
with yourself, guys.
God damn it. 2 hours, 14 minutes. Somebody tell me later. 2 hours, 14 minutes. That's got to go in the intro. It's gotta go. Hey, when it happens, it happens. Hey, listen. I did a stupid thing on Roundtable a couple of weeks ago where we were talking about this and that, and at one point, Jed goes to me, well, hey, this guy can be your boyfriend. Don't you want this guy to be your boyfriend? I said, no, I'd rather have Jeremy be my boyfriend. And, I couldn't. It had to.
Yeah, you're not recovering from that, buddy.
I didn't. It's in the new intro. It's in
over.
the intro. I had to put it in there. I can't run away from it. I can't run away from it. Oh, Fernandez T for $10 says nothing. Just says here, have $10. Much appreciated, my friend.
He appreciated you telling him to play with himself. He's like,
all right.
I will, sir.
But no, listen. When we make the stupid things, I mean, I have to make some adjustments to this one because there's one I clipped from Devil that you don't want me to use. I got one from you. That's got to go in there.
Oh God, man, I've already suffered enough this week. Did you see what Cloud did to me on the pub?
No, I only watched the beginning of the pub this weekend. I didn't. After I literally said,
I told you, Devil. I told you he wasn't going to watch it.
No. After I sent that message, this is really gay. I'm going to bed. I was there for about another 20 minutes, and then I did go to bed. So
yeah, really I started giving you shit. I was all like, "Well,
I know he did.
I'm glad he's gay, but why do you have to go to bed because of it?" Like,
I think myself, and I was literally standing right here. I'm standing right here, and I'm gonna let that one go. Devil earned that one. I'm gonna let it go. I'm not gonna reply. I'm gonna watch for a few more minutes while I'm doing stuff, and then I am going to bed.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't think you got to worry, Devil, because he said he was going to bed and he's gay, so he's not going to watch the rest of this anyway.
No, I was there. I was there for that one. I just like, yeah, let it go.
Yeah, for some reason, I don't even know what brought it into Cloud's head, except maybe that's what he wants to happen to me, the pervert. But when I look into the camera to do my opener, he took it when I'm pointing at the camera, and he did that like whole couch 5 black dude thing, but with me.
Oh,
because he's a dick bag.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been violated, I guess.
Just remember, there's plenty of ammunition to use against Cloud. There's plenty.
My memeing skills have left me.
Not
I
even
haven't
that.
been using them, and
no, just wait till you're on stream again and just level an easy shot. I mean,
yeah.
They were telling you about this on pub, so I need to make sure you guys understand it because neither of you knew the exact lore. They started to tell you about Cloud beating off and falling asleep before he finished.
Yeah, I saw something about that. They fell asleep with his hand.
Yeah, so what that was is we're talking about, falling asleep and going to bed. And he goes, I have a way I once fell asleep. And I said to him, don't tell us this. Whenever I say don't tell us, and he goes, what? He goes, what? One time I was jerking off and I fell asleep before I finished. And I was just like, Cloud, don't tell us this stuff. But he just keeps telling us these things. So
yeah. Well, and it's stuff we don't even need to know. Who needs to know that, dude? That's like, I mean, like it would be one thing if it was completely poignant to a story, but like literally, he just tells you shit.
It's not even a full story. It's like it doesn't even have a good ending.
Yeah,
I know.
One time I was touching my penis and I passed out.
Just remember,
I didn't come, and that's the end of the story. And it's like, well, God,
Devil,
that's boring.
No, just remember, next year you're on stream. There are many ways to just get him right back. He just keeps telling us this shit.
I'm gonna bring him on the pub this week just to abuse him. I'm gonna fucking sit there and just you son of a little bitch.
Anyway, all right. So I'm gonna wrap it up tonight. Over 2 hours. It's fair. It's almost 1 a.m. my time. And because I do have to try and be a normal thing because tomorrow night, Devil, I'm on Get Ranked tomorrow night. Apparently,
Yep.
I'm on Get Ranked. Though I do have a hard out at midnight. I do have a hard out because I have to get up Wednesday morning.
Oh well, we'll be done. Well, no, because you're 3 hours ahead. So
yeah. Static said we're starting at 10. My time.
Yeah, you'll be 12 will be right.
Yeah,
probably up to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right now, that's what I was doing. I have to get the thumbnail still made. It's been such a long time since I've had to make a Get Ranked thumbnail. There's so many people on it. I'm not going to do the usual one where I try to add everyone's face.
How many people are on? You normally it's only like
we're
5
doing like 8 plus me, so like 9 people. We're doing
there's going to be a lot of shouting.
Yeah, 4 versus 4. Hopefully, equal amounts like oatmeal and donut, like oatmeal, because we're trying to do like a whole.
Yeah,
there will be blood.
There's going to be flinging of poo. There's going to be flinging of poo.
Poo flinging.
It's going to be happening.
It's not as long of a list. But since there's more people, we should get more discussion. But right now, I'm going to send the list to everyone once Static tells me exactly who all's going to be on. The list of cookies.
He said last night he was still putting it together. So
yeah, I think he was waiting for one person, so I just need him to confirm that she said yes. And once that's done, then I will give the list to everyone of the cookies.
Explain it to Legatus. He doesn't know what we're going to be doing. Tell Legatus what's going on.
For the past couple freaking months at this point, practically, we have been battling over cookies. Anyone who knows our group, we find one thing and then we end up ripping each other apart. Whether it's pickles, whether it's back tacos and couches, it's there's always something. Well, this month we decided cookies would be the thing we would torture each other about. Oatmeal cookies.
Really, oatmeal raisin cookies. It's one
oatmeal
thing.
Raisin cookies. You're either pro oatmeal raisin cookies or you find them to be the spawn of Satan. Me.
No. Let's be honest. You're either pro oatmeal raisin cookies or you're wrong. Sorry. There it is.
Shut up, you little nether void bitch. No. So we've been battling over oatmeal cookies and how awful and disgusting they are. So Static came to me and said, dude, I really want you to bring back Get Ranked. Everyone, I've been getting this from a lot of people. And he said, how about you do a cookie once? I said, fine. Okay, if you help me put it together, and that's going to be the thing now is after this is I'm going to see if people want to help me, and then I might do more. But he really wanted to do the cookie, so we're doing Battle Cookie tomorrow on Get Ranked.
All right, yeah, I'll be there. Gal's going to be there. I'm sure Charisma's going to be there.
I believe Charisma, Jessica, Shock.
Yeah.
Shock's gonna be there.
Shock, yeah. Well, I already know what the team's probably going to look like. I mean, I know that Melee K and I were on the same team. We were on the same team. I just know that from the whole war that's been going on. So it's going to be lively. There are a lot of lively, shouty people going to be on tomorrow night, myself included in that. So that should be a good one. I always enjoy Get Ranked. It's a lot of fun. And I'll be playing video games right up until we start. I'll squeeze in the Dragon Age 2 stream right up until we start. We'll end here. So Samuel, what's your stuff look like this week?
Nothing that intense. God damn. No, we're coming back for Abyssal Musings. I think we have Caucasian Squatch, maybe a handful of other people on this week, just because Larry's out of town. So we're just kind of gonna dick around with topics and such, as opposed to continue on with what we have been doing. We'll do that when Larry returns next week, because he's out of town. And then after that, I've got the Elzapub like an hour after that's over. So I'll be over there until ungodly hours in the morning, at which point I will go to bed and wake up in time just in time for my show, Screaming into the Void, because that's how this goes every week. I never remember to do this. Last week I remember to get the stream set up before I went to
I've
bed,
been doing that lately.
For these late night streams we're all on, I've been setting them up in the wee hours of the morning before I pass out for a few hours, so that I don't do it last minute, like 20 minutes before we start. I've been doing that lately. Yeah.
Yep. So, but this week on Screaming to the Void, I'm not sure what we're doing. Last week was kind of an impromptu topic, and it ended up being really good with a couple of last minute guests talking about simulation theory and the nature of God, and the possibility of AI controlling us all and that kind of thing. It was a pretty good fucking show, actually.
Simulation
We have
theory.
Professor Savage.
Simulation theory
It
freaks
should.
me out.
It should freak you out.
I don't want to be in a simulation. I don't want to be that. And if I am, where can I find a cheat code where I can summon, big tit anime
Well,
girls?
that's the trick, isn't it? How do you hack a simulation when you're just a part of the code?
Yeah.
But anyway, after that, so we'll do something. I don't know. I'll figure out something in the intervening week between now and the next week. But so we should have some fun topics. Whatever. I'll come up with something. Then you can find me also on Lioness 2, moderating behind the scenes of producing, and occasionally getting yelled at on the actual panel. And then back here next week for Mellow Monday. So.
Yeah. As for me, I have this now ends as we end now. I have been streaming consistently for the past 4 days, almost all day. It feels like, between regular shows and video game streaming, and it's going to continue throughout the week. If you guys haven't caught up on it, you can catch my reviews of Rings of Power Season 2. The first 3 episodes, they are up and live on my channel. And you can catch the replay of This Is Mordor Country. We return for the panel for this Season 2. We had a good time this round. Next week, Horny Alf will be joining us going forward as our lore guy, as our Tolkien lore guy. Alf has a lot of anger in him for Rings of Power on Amazon, so it should be fun to watch. I mean, Alf
Would
is
you say
generally
he has a Tempest in him?
Very good. Very good. I mean, Alf is pretty much a laid-back, chill dude most of the time. So you're going to get a rare instance of him likely spurging out on this shit. So tune in for that on my channel, Jed's channel. And Dermy decided to simulcast it too, but fuck him. Don't watch it on Dermy's channel. Watch it on my channel or Jed's channel. And every Thursday for the next month and a half, you can catch my reviews going forward of Rings of Power Season 2. Somewhere mid to late afternoon, I'll drop it. Every Friday, Ballbusters. I have no idea who the guests are this week. And as I said, Saturday Night Drive-In is on hiatus while we're doing Rings of Power. In its place, 8:30 p.m. Eastern every week This Is Mordor Country. So join us for that. And Roundtable, 2 p.m. Eastern every Sunday. And then right back here at 10 p.m. Eastern on Mondays, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, Mondays, for more good old-fashioned nerding out on Mellow Mondays. I'm kind of glad. I'm glad for like the lame reason that summer is over and I don't have to keep finding favorite anime chicks I like in bikinis and bathing suits, because I'm running out of my favorites. So I can go back to like just finding versions of the anime girls I like in other clothes, because summer's over, so I don't need to keep that theme up anymore. But I'm kind of glad, so I can go back to an easier chance of finding the different creating different thumbnails for it. But we'll be back here. Whatever other news drops during the week, you never know what's going to happen. But thank you, boys, as always, showing up tonight. Thank you, chat, for being here. We appreciate you guys. Links are in the description below. At least I think they are. Wait a minute. Did I even hold on a second before we keep going here? Did I even properly put the stuff in on this? Did I? Otherwise, I'll get a claim. No, I didn't. Shit, I didn't. I got to do it right now, because otherwise I'll get a freaking claim for all this shit. Hold on one second. Oh my God, that's blame Dragon H2. Blame Dragon H2. I was very bad at it. I didn't even put anybody's links in the description below. I was about to say, catch the links in the description below, guys. Here to do it. Let me put the proper shit in here. I didn't even put any tags on. Nothing. Damn. I was shame on Adam tonight, man. Shame
Streamer
on Adam.
brain.
Streamer, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Streamer brain. I'm just going from one thing to next. And I mean, I literally ate right before we got on stream. I hadn't eaten anything since noon. So I just kind of crammed some food down and put it on the playlist, Adam. Man, boomer time. Mega freaking boomer time. Let's just grab random tags from today's video. Don't care.
You know,
it matters for later.
I can appreciate that though. Like I got up around noonish myself today. I slept in a little bit today because I had the day off. Because it's a happy, commie proletariat recognition day. But that side. So I got and I started playing. I've been playing lately this game called Cult Lamb, which I think I mentioned to you guys. And I can say I'm having a blast. I'm pretty far into it now, and I've managed to turn this cute little community of fuzzy creatures into this degenerate cannibal sex cult. So it's awesome.
Man, that's great. That does sound funny as hell. Anyway, so now links are in the description below. Subscribe to everybody. We all get up to different kinds of fun things, but your support is what keeps us going. So we appreciate each and every one of you watching live or on the replay. Hit that like button, subscribe later on. Let us know what you think of things all the time. We are always happy to hear from you guys. We're here to entertain you. We're here to have a good time. So we will see you guys next time throughout the week on different streams, different stuff. So until then, guys, take it easy. Have a good night or day or wherever you may be.
Night.